And I believe we are live. How's it going? Janice and Ron. And I'm Music Therapy Laz here on the Music is Therapy show, Sunday morning show for me.
He's gonna go
Morning.
blind for a minute.
Yeah. How's everybody's vocals? You guys all sound good to me. How about you, Ron? Give us a little hidey ho or something there. Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
There we go. We got Johnny Bean in the chat welcoming everybody. He's probably out getting coffee. Did everybody enjoy their extra hour of sleep this morning? I did.
Yeah.
I changed my clock to 2
Definitely.
o'clock yesterday afternoon.
You did? Oh, okay.
It
We
doesn't
are
matter
live.
because
I see it there. Oops. There we go. We
I
are
don't do
live
a
on
timetable here.
YouTube. We're probably live on Facebook too. Let's go check out Facebook and see if we're live there. And I'm going to see if I can add some other things like Instagram on there. But I'm not sure how this is all going to work out with StreamYard. I think they're going to start charging more. And to be able to go to various different outlets, it could be a problem. And Janice is adjusting her. You got a little scratch on there, or what is that? A little schmutz on there, as they would say, schmutz, right? Let's check out if we've got it live here on Facebook. Not even sure where it would go to on Facebook. Doesn't it go to my channel on Facebook? It's so odd how Facebook works. I'm not seeing it there now. Or is it on my Music is Therapy or Music Therapy Labs channel on Facebook? I don't know. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. We're live on Facebook. Look at that. How about that?
There you go.
Right. So it is working, and it's going to the proper channel that I want it to be at, which is the Music Therapy Labs page, not my personal page on Facebook. It's so weird to kind of keep those two separate. You know what I mean? Because I like to have my own personal one with the family photos and all the family stuff and say whatever you want to say kind of place. Whereas with this one, it's got to be a little bit more YouTube and public centric, right?
Look, it's much better now.
How we sound there, Johnny Bean? Does it sound good? Ron Gunner is saying hello to all. Who's that guy? Then we got Eddie Fay over here. Great question. Do we create it or does it come through us, right? Does this imply the Akashic records or a real thing? And we're just channeling or tapping into it, right? Yeah, man. So, you know what I'll do is I often don't do this. I'll say hi to whoever's in the chat right now. It's Matt Stewart. What's up? And then Holly Lewis. What's up? Johnny, of course. Bay Area Rich. What's up, dude? Thanks for joining. And then as people pop in, we'll keep an eye on the chat. But I thought I would actually read from my actual description so you guys get an idea of kind of the setup of what this is all about. So I always do a welcome to the Music is Therapy show where I talk with guests and whoever, we talk about your experiences, the chat, people in the chat's experiences, and talk about, articles, scientific, articles as well. When there's some new information that's out, I talk about. I really wanted to talk about epigenetics, but it didn't really pertain to anything musical. So I'm like, well, that's not really music therapy related, but epigenetics is a fascinating thing I studied and have still continued study interest in how our genetic past affects our future, not just ours, our families, going back 3 generations. So, and then how we, knowing those things, can then, proactively do something about it. And that kind of pertains to this, which is, are we in a real reality here? Are we in some kind of a false reality where our destinies, we're just like some kind of, I don't know. We feel like we're alive creatures. Like
the
a
video
Matrix
game
of,
type reality.
Yeah, there's that, there's some solid scientific, facts and theories about that. They're talking about that. Whether or not you can prove we're really in a reality or not is hard to prove because we don't really even understand fully how the universe and everything works. But we experience it through our senses as a reality. And so that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about here, because what prompted this a little bit, it's a topic that's come to my mind before, but what prompted this was something in Alex's book, and he talked quite a bit about the spiritual side of things, and his connection to his brother. So I'll just say, outside of, in the description, I always talk about, what we talk about, therapies and whatnot for people suffering from things. It's also understanding our reality and where we are in this world, and how we connect with each other and all that. So on today's show, we'll talk about a subject I've been fascinated with all my life. Does music come through me like how it often feels? Or am I in control, creating it myself. The feelings and emotions, just part of my experiences in biology, the neurons firing due to chemical and other physical reactions, right? What's happening in my brain, is that really it's just really not like some mystical thing. It's just physically what's going on. In other words, who's really in control of the music? Is it me, a collection of all my musical experiences and influences, or is it coming from some external force? The force, a greater a greater consciousness from which the music flows through me. And they ruined that in the part 1 and 2, or part 1 with the midichlorians, didn't they, in that series? But in the Alex Van Halen book, Brothers, he talks about how his brothers seemed musically gifted to him. And when he asked, or others have asked Ed Van Halen, he'd often say he doesn't even know where it comes from. The music just comes through him, right? But he had the time, and Alex even stated the musical influences that shaped their style, from their dad to their favorite band Led Zeppelin to any other rock musicians that they must have heard growing up on the radio. So was it Ed's determination to be the best that directed him to trying new things and thereby create an entirely new way of playing the guitar that rocked the world? Is it the music coming through him, or did he act with his own free will?
Are you talking about Van Halen?
Yeah.
That's because he was off my radar. I really didn't have, Van Halen until Johnny Bean.
Yeah, so I kind of got reintroduced to Van Halen, and what was interesting about this book,
maybe I knew Jump. That's about it.
Really? You don't remember, like in Thriller, that the song, the Beat It song?
I was into the new wave scene.
Yeah, me too.
In the Southern
I got
rock.
more into new age and alternative rock into the later
Southern
years.
rock.
I kind of left the whole hair metal scene to some degree. I still liked my favorites.
Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I saw them for the Voodoo Lounge tour. That was supposed to be their last tour. That was a long time ago. And I've got Keith Richards' book up here too, which I still have to finish. But let me finish this real quick. So, so the bottom line is reading the book kind of, inspired this topic a little bit because of what Alex was saying about his brother's genius, But is this something you're born with? I mean, even Eddie said that I wasn't born with this. I practiced at it. But he often said the music comes through him. So which is it? Or is it both? I kind of like to say, like in the end here, I say, personally, I think it's a little both. Maybe it takes a little magic mixed in with the random and sometimes organized concrete facts of laws of life in the universe that create our reality. But what are your guys' thoughts on this out there, right? I mean, I say, others have been known, was it just random chance, predetermined to be the greatest, or is he a born genius? There's others like Jimi Hendrix that have said the same thing, that comes through him. But he too was like a session player and played in I don't know how many bands, like, dozens and dozens of bands, right? So to build up that skill, to become the vessel that the music comes through, you have to have some skill level. The better your skill, the better you can be that vessel, maybe. But is it really just something coming out of the ether out there, some magical power, or is it really something you're creating based on your experiences and how you've been, influenced, right? So that's kind of like the question I thought I'd bring up in this and have everyone kind of put their own 2 cents in on it. There is in science, though, like what you were bringing up, Ron, there's this thing in philosophical and science circles. They call it the hard problem. You've heard this term before.
I saw that, Holly. The Beato video. Oh
yeah, I watched that too. That's another thing. It's funny how he touches on this a little bit, but not really. I even wrote a response to him in that, even though there's thousands of responses. I don't know if he'll ever read it. But the bottom line, what he was talking about is that, by your 20s, by the end of your 20s, your creativity is basically gone, in the sense that the really special creativity. I think there's something to be said about that. I don't think it's any magical thing. I mean, Mozart probably created some of his greatest things at that age, but a lot of these people, I think you're plateauing, you're hitting that curve, right? In science, we use the bell curve a lot, right? You're hitting that curve right around then, in your mid 20s to your late 20s. Right?
I was like around 30
or early 20s.
Right? Around 30.
Around 30. And the thing is that that when you get to that curve, then you're coming down, right? And but there are other people that hit that popularity, if you want to call it that, their magic later in life. Look at Willie Nelson, for example. He was an older guy already when he finally started to make it, right? There are a lot of other people that some of their seminal music, some of the best stuff they've ever written, whether it was in classical or jazz, much later in life. I mean, Alan Holdsworth wasn't some 20-year-old guy when he was hitting his stride. But at the same time, yeah, I think there's something to be said for what Beato was getting at with age. I think it also has the fact when you're in your 20s, you have more ability to take risk in life because you don't have as much responsibilities to have to live up to. And like in the case of Eddie Van Halen, or Ed, like to be called Ed, in the case of Ed Van Halen, probably more so with him as the I guess the awareness and calling him the genius and the god like guitar player and all this, just because he came up with something novel and new. Wow, what he did was amazing. He changed the rock and roll world because it shocked people with the way he was playing. Like, how was he doing this? But once they figured it out, they're like, oh, okay, this is the trick. It's kind of like pulling the curtains back and you see suddenly it's not some magical thing going on here. It's the smoke and mirrors on the stage. Right, Ron? You know that. Yeah. And you too, Janice. So what do you guys think out there? Holly's saying less space taken up in the brain when we are younger. What's really funny about that too? Not so much clutter. So what's really funny about that is much younger in life, actually, our brain has a lot more connections in our neurologically, our neurons. There are a lot more connections that we actually disconnect from. We cut a lot of those connections off so that we can concentrate on the things that life is throwing at us. And then I think what you're saying here is like as life throws more at you. That's kind of what I was getting to in my response to Beato, is that as life is throwing more at you, you have more responsibilities and things to take care of. You can't take as many risks. You can't, you just can't. You got to put food on the table. But like in the case of the Van Halen story in Alex's book, what he talks a lot about what his dad and his mom were always trying to impart on them in their own two different ways. That look, but there are things that matter, and you got to put food on the table. So if you're going to put food on the table, you have to work at it. You have to get good at what you're doing. You got to be different. You got to be better. Alex talks about in the book, he noticed that there are a lot of great musicians that were phenomenal musicians stuck playing these bar gigs and they're in their 50s, 60s. They're all getting old, getting nowhere, but they're great. And he started thinking about what do we do? What we got to break. We got to break out of this somehow. We got to find some way to get, through past that, to somehow get beyond that. Otherwise, we're stuck there too, like our dad. And that's what their mother was always telling them: get a suit and get a real job. Work in an office where you can make real money. It's more stable. They figured out a different way. They figured out a way to bring, excitement in music. And he knew, and this is why they brought Dave in. He talks about this in the book. He knew that he has to, bring someone like Dave in who has a different kind of, there's got to be a show too. You can be a phenomenal player up there like Alan Holdsworth and people, it's not, walk away because can't dance to it, can't sing to it, can't be part of it. And I think they realize that we have to connect with others. And the more you can connect with others through your music, the bigger you're going to be. And I think that's what Dave wanted to be big as life could possibly offer him. He wanted to be part of everything. I admire Dave too, because this is a guy who wanted to do everything and tried to do everything, and he does everything. But you can go crazy with that too, I guess. Maybe.
Regardless if it's a God-given gift or one that you work on yourself, the hardest, the only thing that works is you just got to continue to push yourself.
Right. So now go a little deeper on
satisfied.
That. Give me a little more. Go deeper on that for me, Ron, about the first words you used, the God-given gift.
Okay. Right, so my friend Jim Dofka, who you can go to on YouTube, Dofka, DOFKA.
Let's put that in here. DOFKA, Dofka Group.
Just Dofka on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yep.
All right, tell us about Dofka.
When he was 5, he heard some classical music, Beethoven or whatever, walked over to the piano and started playing it. Never had a piano lesson.
Did he have a piano in the house?
Yes, his mom did.
Who played the piano?
His mother.
But she play when
he never sat down behind it prior to that.
Did he? Did she play it when he was in the womb?
I have no idea. I wasn't there.
My mom did. I actually attribute some of my natural talent on the piano in my natural ear that I can pick up on stuff real quick because of her playing the piano when I was in the womb, and we were upright piano. Probably doesn't matter whether it's upright or not. Might have been kind of muffled sounding like whale song, but I know for sure that there was definitely an influence on my brain, if not genetically already predetermined to some degree, right? Physically, we're talking about biology now, predetermination. I'm not talking about conscious, godlike predetermination. Yeah. I'm talking about that kind of predetermination. That's the more concrete versus the subjective side.
He did that at age 5, and he's an unbelievable guitar player. Matter of fact, his band opened for Yngwie for almost a year on tour.
That's awesome.
So he's
a prodigy is another term we use, not just genius, but prodigy.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning that someone else in their family was already gifted or had some musical or some other talent, and then they were a prodigy of them. The next level of it. And Ed was that way with his dad. I don't know about like Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Page or any others, but they were influenced by the music that was around them in their environment.
Hendrix knew all the theory and everything.
Right. Yeah. Where did he learn that?
That I don't know. I just remember him. I saw an interview where he said he learned music theory and everything.
Mm-hmm. Probably through his, growing up as a musician or trying to become a musician and playing gigs. And he probably learned from all the guys out there, just like Alex learned from the jazz players, a lot of things about being on the road and playing in clubs. And then there's the consciousness side of it. This is why I brought up the hard problem in this, because the hard problem is called the hard problem because there's that difficulty of trying to come to terms with what we call subjective and concrete reality, right?
Yep.
It's hard. Like they even did it with the open slit, experiment in physics with photons of light and trying to understand how they appear in different places, but random spots. But then over time, you'll see that it creates a wave, and that's where they discover the wave function of particles in particle physics, and that's how we're getting to the quantum of things, the quantum reality, as scientists call it, that, or physicists dealing with that. And so I have some really interesting links, you guys, if you want to get deeper into some of this, click on those links after the show. I've discovered through time trying to play those on the show, no bueno. It ends up causing problems. Yeah, well, they'll either shut the show down or they'll copyright strike you or whatever. So you can't really do that, So I put the links in there. So I'm basing some of what I'm talking about, and I'm bringing up here on other people's thoughts and observations and perhaps scientific, proven facts and knowledge about how the brain works, psychological, chemistry and psychological biology. The way we behave is somewhat self-determined by our biology. You know that, right? The hormones, the pheromones, all these things. When music starts, that's happy music gets you wanting to dance and getting moving. What causes that? What causes you to want to move to it? There's a biological kind of thing going on
right
there.
Now. What I'm listening to.
Yeah, exactly.
Techno.
Yeah. So let's get back to what Holly had here said about, less place taken up by the brain when we're younger. We're not cluttered, right? And then Eddie Fay here had to say, well, Bonnie Raitt, exactly, Holly Lewis. Yeah, another person later in age. I even said to him, well, what about Santana, man? Much later in age, she came out with some of the biggest hits ever that he's done, right? With collaborations, right? So, well, think about that, what mastery means with regard to creativity and awareness, right? When you're 3 years old, how can you write an epic poem when you're still building a vocabulary, right? Yeah. So here we go. Yeah. Holly says, I don't think Eddie did with tapping is smoke and mirrors and just a trick, although he did develop a lot of tricks on the guitar. Tapping is a technique, right? In when I say tricks, I was talking about kind of like when you're talking about the smoke and mirrors on stage, right? When you're talking about when you're trying to create a reality for people, whether it's a feeling through music or whether it's an experience in a movie or in a set. The smoke and mirrors, the magician that would,
fact that there's really nothing going on.
Yeah, the magician. How does the magician do what he does successfully every time to everyone that he plays the trick on? Well, we've all seen those documentaries or those shows where they show how the magician does his tricks, right? It's sleight of hand, it's distraction, it's redirection or misdirection. It's the same thing that works in marketing to get us to want things and buy all this stuff we think is needed. When we really know concretely, we really know we don't need all this. But we tell ourselves we do because we rationalize these things so that it makes sense to us to accept, paying money and buying stuff like this, because we don't want to admit, oh, we're just fools and we're just being directed by somebody else, to get influenced by others to buy these things, right? We don't want to admit that because then we'd be the sucker. Right? Exactly.
The Syndrome Society.
Yeah. Hey, thrash metal dude, long time no see. How's it going? Loudwire had an article yesterday with very detailed charts showing metal is more intelligent. It's a fans. Yeah, and it's very interesting why. And this is maybe a great topic for a future show. I think we'll do that. Yeah. Slayer was the third highest, right? Yeah, for lexical diversity, right? And what that means is that, you're more open. Diversity is openness, right? When you're more open to more ideas and more possibilities and more realities, or whatever you want to call it, right? More possibilities. It takes more intelligence to handle all that. Simpler ideologies or simpler ways of thought are, oh no, there's just only one way to live, and this is how it is, and I'm telling you, or I was told by somebody else or some other thing that this is how we got to do it because this is the right and only way, and there's no other way, and don't do it this way or that way or the other way. We don't need all that diversity. We just need this one path and one way because this is the one way through to the light, or whatever you want to call it. It's the best and only way, and follow me and you'll be fine. You won't have any problems. Nothing will happen to you. You don't have to worry. Everything will be great if you just do it this one way. Whereas there's the other, more, I think, okay, how do I put this in without offending anyone?
Choose your words carefully.
Choose your words carefully, Laz.
He's been MIA for a long time.
Maybe when you do follow one of those people's directions of things and you find out that, it didn't quite work out for me the way you said, and I'm not getting the answers, or I'm not really, finding any understanding, and that something's not quite fitting here for me, and I'm going to look elsewhere. And then you start looking elsewhere for answers, and then you start finding a lot of answers. I often say this about knowledge. It's like a hole you dig. The deeper you get into it, the more you start digging that hole of knowledge, the bigger the hole gets. The more you have to now deal with. So when you start to accept a form of music like heavy metal, and you then don't accept the definitions by others saying it's evil or bad or angry or offensive or whatever negative, music, if you start to question their definition of it, and you start to say, no, these people are really nice that I'm hanging out, we're all having a great time, nobody's hurting anybody, nobody has some bad attitude, nobody here is telling the other person you're going to go to hell or this, that, and the other thing, we're all just enjoying and together having a good time. I mean, we're not doing any harm to anyone, we're enjoying this music, and that's that. And what you guys are saying is wrong, it's false, it's not true, and so then they start to question more, and they start to look into even more ways of thinking and whatnot, and now they are expanding their reality. Their reality is not so focused and narrow, and there's not just one path. Now there's like this wider, more diverse path or way of thinking about things. And that takes intelligence. Why? Because you have to be able to critically think and determine whether something is right or wrong within that reality, whatever it is, right? You have to be able to be a critically thinking human being. And some people don't have, I guess, the energy for it. There's too much going on in their lives for it. They'd rather have the simpler path for life.
They don't have the drive.
They don't have the drive for it, maybe. But it could be just an energy thing. And whether they have the drive or not could be even, it could be a belief thing. It could be also, look, I was taught this. I have to do this because this is what my parents and other people in my community, I'm part of a community that say, hey, this is how you live or you're out. And then there's that, either you're in or you're out. That's kind of hard, especially when you're younger. It's very difficult to go against the grain. But that's why I think in your 20s, you start to get to that point. And that's why, like what Beata was saying too, that's when you really start realizing your place in the world. You start creating your own place in the world. And it's most exciting at that time. It's most, it's rushing through you at that point. And then later in life, you start to calm down because you start to like, oh, yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm going to go fishing now. I'm going to go build a guitar now, or I'm going to go do something else now. But there's not that, what's the right word? When you're excited about something you want to do, there's not that rush of it, right? So it peters out, as they say later in life. That's maybe not the right term, but you know what I mean. Right. So, yeah, I'll have to look up some of this stuff. Trash metal. Trash. I said trash. Too much garbage comments lately in the news. Yeah, it is wacky, right? Fitting a 12-note chromatic run into a song and making it sound great. Paul McCartney, maybe. I'm amazed. Yeah, there's many others too, and that's just that, right? Anyway, there's a lot of chromatic. I find that so fascinating, and that's just the Western style, because there's like atonal stuff too. That's just amazing out there in the world. Listen to some of that. Even the Beatles definitely got into that with the music from when they went to the East and studied
with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
Yeah, that's him. I couldn't remember his name. Thank you. We're just watching a very interesting thing about some new LA yoga lady who started a whole cult. What is it called? The Kundalini yoga thing.
What?
It's a 4-part series on Netflix that we just watched the first 2 of, and now they're gonna have the next 2. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Novanak. Is it Novanok? Novanok. I'm gonna say Novanok. It sounds good to me that way. Yeah, he didn't say he supports. Say his supporters are garbage. He said not to allow his supporters garbage. Like, yeah, I know. That's why misrepresentation of what people say in their context and meaning is one part of the game, right? We won't talk politics here today, even though it's important. Go out and vote, people. If there's a very good saying, I really liked it, and the saying goes, "If you don't vote."
It's the first time in 12 years I can really vote.
Oh, why?
Because
they didn't let you before.
Jim and I were so far opposites that our votes would cancel each other out. So
hey, that's okay. That's part of that's part of the system. I think that's fine. If that happens in your relationship, it's perfectly fine. I think part of it is discussing these things and having conversations about it. You should be able to have a conversation without getting around to hating each other, and that's what I find difficult. Sometimes I'll talk to some people and right away they start, oh, you're from California, and start insinuating and think they know me when they don't, and they don't even want to continue the conversation. Just talk about policy and talk about, how things will affect our lives. And I think that matters. I think, this is I'm not going to call it a turning point in the United States in any way, shape, or form. I think, it's definitely important to people, but all of the issues that are on the table, I think people have a reason for why they're voting whatever direction they are, because they feel that there's a need for some policy change and things need to be done, in a way that they feel will affect their lives, and so it's important to them. So, I'm not going to tell anyone don't vote this way or that way, but one person said it well, if you don't vote, you don't count. And maybe some people don't vote because they don't believe they actually count anymore. And so that's why there's a lot of apathy and people aren't voting as much as they should, right? But your vote won't be counted if you aren't voting. So whether or not it counts here in California, whether if I'm a Republican and I voted, does it count here? Well, maybe it does count in some way, right? But if I'm a Democrat, does it count? Because there's so many, for sure they're going to win the state anyway, so does it matter if I vote or not? So you can play that semantic game, whether or not you think you vote. Thanks. I vote for me too. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a good one, Boomster Black. That's true too, I guess. But I think that's another thing too. I think we all have. There's the capability of all of us to learn, and that's kind of about the music thing. What I want to get back to that is that, to me, it's a mix of both this subjective and the concrete thing. Okay, when we're in the subjective moment, when you're just like like that picture. If you look at the picture on my thumbnail there, right? Let me bring it up. If you look at that thumbnail, right? It's this guy with a, looks like the god is shining his light down on him, and he's just playing mystically out of the fog there. But that's just fog machines with a light. Or is it? So it depends on your perspective, right? And some of these feelings and these emotions that are created by music and the creation of it, and then how it makes us feel, right? It's about the feeling thing. But there's a concrete side to that feeling side too. It's not all just magic. It's like what's happening biologically in our bodies and our minds and our feelings and all this and that. Wow, is that your fan on your computer there, Janice? Here, I'm gonna test this.
What?
Yes, yeah. I muted Janice and immediately that sound went away. It sounded like there's like an Arctic wind blowing through the place there.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like this sounding sound. But anyway, it's all right. It might be your what are they called? You have a fan on or a fish tank or something going on back there?
I just filled my fish tank this morning.
Okay.
How's this? Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah, it went away. What did you do?
I muted the other stream. I had it on very low. But now I just have it on my phone.
I'm sorry. I'm forcing you to adjust your streaming pleasure here.
Okay.
So as you guys know, Janice has a lot going on. She has to have Sander on whenever he's on. He's got to be on, right? Yeah.
I think I got perfect attendance in October.
Wow. Dang.
In September too.
If that guy doesn't come out to meet you in America someday, just for being the best fan ever.
I missed 5 streams in August because I was sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective on the politics of things, and yeah, maybe someday we'll change things. Right now, I think the biggest change we need politically is to overturn Citizens United decision by the Supreme Court, because it just gave corporations all the power to put as much money as they want to into anything, and they have basically control over politics with money now. Outside of the grassroots efforts that some people do, and that does help too, but. Yeah, they run the show. If you've ever been to Washington, I have. If you've ever talked to a congressman in Washington, I have. You understand how it works. You don't get their attention unless you're donating for the most part, or you're a big enough group where you make a big enough noise to, and that's where we have the power, as people do. Banding together like my mom used to back in the day. Because of the dolphins being killed by tuna canning making companies, right? Boycotting. But anyway, yeah. So your thoughts? Did you show us a boss? No. So what I showed you guys, should I show you real quick? I showed you guys this. Ron's gonna get this in the mail by Christmas. I promise, by Christmas, before I leave to Christmas to Peru. I kept.
Oh, you're going out
of
country again?
Yeah, that's why I figure I might as well send this to you for a while and let you have fun with it. But you promised to send it back to me. It's just a loan, and just to keep you honest, I'm going to keep the box.
Oh, look at him.
What was the other one?
I'm just going to send you the pedal.
Back and forth. What was going back and forth? You with the A?
What's that?
You and Johnny with this one pedal that
the walking on the moon.
The walking on the moon. Yeah.
Well, I bought him one. I bought one for myself, but then I gave it to him for Christmas. I think 2 years ago, or whenever it came out. Anyway, and then I bought myself another one. So I have another one right there.
What was the name of that one?
The Walking on the Moon pedal.
That's what was the name of the pedal.
Yeah, Walking on the Moon, because it has that. It has that. Oh, you're still waiting for that too, right? It has that. It has the flanger sound from Walking on the Moon. So.
What was the other one? The Albatross or something like that?
I have the Albatross too. It's right over there. Yeah, that's one that Brent bought for me for Christmas or something, and it's funny because it makes that Pink Floyd bird sounding kind of thing, and everybody loves or hates it. I think Ron's on the hate side, right?
I don't know.
It's funny. It's fun. It's hilarious.
I'm trying to get the money for nothing sound down right now.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I have not really anybody Blamage down pat.
Well, I learned a little bit of Ozzy, Randy Rhoads the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, you guys were teaching it to me.
I have to ask Blamage if I could have permission to.
I haven't played since then. I play my classical.
To have his to play his music on my live streams on Twitch. Because that's the only music that I really know how to play in that style, any style that I could play on Twitch would be their music, because they're the only ones that are like synthesizers. And I really would like to show how I'm doing that. I have to have their permission though.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Boots to Black. So yeah, I did want to do this Thursday. I'm going to do a comparison of the Randy Rhoads pedal, comparing it to some other pedals. So I've got to go out and find one. I have to go out and find an MXR Distortion Plus, or just buy one online so I can compare it to, just a standard one. And then I was also going to compare it to, I think like Johnny was saying, I should compare it to not the OD1, which I have a version of. I think it was in 2003 or at some point they made like 300. I think somebody told me that this one's more rare than even the originals because they only made so many. And I got that from my buddy, my anonymous supporter. We all know who he is. And then I also have a Dark Matter by TC Electronic that somebody in a like live forum or something said when I was researching the pedal.
You see,
watching videos.
Speaking of pedals, Red Shoal is just. I got the announcement that he's got a video. In his new video, was everyone should have a boost pedal.
Yeah, boost. Yeah, so you can if you. I don't know. Boost pedal is an interesting term. Okay, so what are you boosting? Are you just boosting the volume? Are you pushing the tubes? What are you boosting? There are tube screamers, which is a boost of certain frequencies within your system, right? From your guitar, if you want to call it a system, from your guitar to your amp. Taking calls?
Excuse me.
No, I can't take that one.
Okay. Thanks for joining, by the way. Ron, I totally just sent it to you last minute and you joined. That was awesome. But the bottom line is that when someone calls something a boost, what are they really saying? I hear that term transparent boost all the time.
Ego boost.
There's that. Isn't there a talent pedal? It's like
there's a drink too.
So yeah, not true. But okay, is the reissue? Okay, is the reissue? They change parts first. One is best have one. Yeah, best have two. Yeah. So that's the thing about pedals. The circuits that they're made with and what the wires are made with. All those little things are going to change. Even how long the wires can be. What kind of jack. Or what kind of cable are you using? So much can affect between the guitar, the vibration of the strings, the kind of strings, the pick you're using, the pickups, then, the cable, how long it is, is there, how much impedance is there? Impedance. I like to say the impedance because it's like the guys over at that pedal show, Dan and Mick, they call it the impy dance. The dance of the electrons through the the impy dance. Anyway, but then you have, the amp itself, and everything that affects the sound coming out of the speakers and hitting your ear by waves going in through a room, with the size of your room, the size of your speakers, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff matters, right? All of it is going to affect the tone, right? Johnny Bean, sometimes he's here, but not always. Yeah. I don't know where he is right now. He said hi earlier on, but I didn't expect he was going to join. He usually just pops in the mornings while he's at breakfast. Take the call if you have to. You can just mute yourself. If it's important, Ron, do it. Yeah, but the Johnny Bean show's on the Johnny Bean TV channel. This is the Music Therapy Labs channel. So I played for 50 years. I played for 50 years. Did an Ozzy tribute when Jake was lead guitar. Yeah, do that. He was awesome. I saw them for that tour, the first one with Bark at the Moon. Did Sabbath, Rhodes, Demanding Music. Yeah, had very fun. Very fun. Yeah, Demanding Music for sure, right? Rhodes and Jake. Holy crap. That kind of stuff is very demanding. And getting back to like the topic here is that you had to, it didn't just come through the ether, right? You didn't just magically play that music like Ron's friend on the piano, right? Now, how did that kid do that, Ron? How? Does he know?
I have no idea. I just know he turned into he can play anything.
Yeah, right? He's one of these like savant type kids.
Wait, hold on.
Do your thing.
Hold on.
I won't ask you any questions, yeah. But the thing is, we have... There are these innate abilities that some of us have, and where does it come from, right? It's crazy to think like, where do these abilities sometimes come from, and is there some epigenetic or genetic, collection of neurons in our brain that give us the ability that, let's say there is no piano around the house, and therefore you never hear it, never play it, but your grandpa had one, or he played violin or something like that, and then therefore somehow that's connected to you through the epigenetics, right?
I had nothing except for a record player.
There you go. And the radio, right? But music drew you in because it made you feel special, right? It made you feel a certain way. And anytime you listen to that music, that feeling came back, or it takes you back to a moment in time or history, right? Where you felt a certain way when you were young. Makes you feel young again, that whole kind of thing, right? And the thing is that that's what's so interesting about music, and it's so magical. There's that because we don't understand something, we call it magic, right? We give it some other meaning, like, oh, it must be something that we can't understand, so it's magic, right? Right. Well, they had harps and other kind of instruments back then. They actually did philosophize. I forget which philosopher of the ancient Greeks, but I know that Apollo was known as the god of music and having a good time partying, but I know that they definitely philosophized about the frequency of the universe, and that we are connected by sound frequency of sound. I think they understood the ripples in a pond kind of ideology, like throw a pebble in the water and it ripples, just like when you hear sound, it ripples outwards and carries through. They created amphitheaters, understanding how sound worked, right? They understood that. So Ian's saying hi to you, Janice.
You saying I said hi to him before.
All right.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, but could you imagine? And collectively, the human species, right, have collectively created all these instruments like the Hammond organ and the electric guitar and all these things. It wasn't just one guy who just did that on his own, out of his mind, or it came from some consciousness from somewhere else. thousands of years of development, from sticking a string from one part of a stick to another and creating some kind of a sound from that, boing, 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 to violin or to piano, which is even a much more complex instrument, string.
Eddie Fay, I think that he said this. Ancient Greece conceived of electric guitar and Hammond organ. Didn't Bill and Ted do something like that?
Yeah, right.
Socrates.
Mm-hmm. Socrates, yeah, Socrates, right. That's an interesting thing too. There's a lot of interesting stuff about frequency and hertz and all that. I don't know if any of it's true. There's so much information out there; it's hard to know what's real and not. I don't know if 440 was being used. When did 440 become the standard? Does anyone
do not know?
Yeah, let's look that up. But what are your thoughts on about the belief, or is it do you guys believe that if you have a musical talent, does your talent come from some unconscious, some place, or are you actually creating it yourself? Or are you actually putting in the hard time and work, or is it just that your skill isn't there yet to actually let it flow through you yet, and then so you have to get to a certain skill level before it's going to flow through you, kind of thing? There's some interesting stuff about that. I think what someone else said early on is that, like Holly, I think was saying, is that you have so much in your mind sometimes you got to get all that other stuff off your mind to be in a place for the music to flow. And that's the same with sports too. So how many times do you hear that term, being in the zone or being in the flow? You have to have all the other distractions shut off. That's why a lot of musicians take and use drugs to not just be in the flow at the moment on stage, to be able to do it in front of a crowd of 20 or 10 or 5,000 or whatever, but just to be in that space in your head, if you want to call it that, where now you don't have anything distracting you from this one specific task, because this specific task takes so much to really create it in a way that you feel, okay, now I'm flowing. Now it's a flow.
Also, I was talking about E flat. Like with Stevie Ray Vaughan, turning it down to E flat gives you extra space that you can play the E chord up on the top. Because you can't do E really good.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally get it. And it loosens the strings a little bit, so it's a little easier to bend. There's all these tension.
You don't really do E on the third string, or all the way, or the fifth string, down in the A, to do this, the A part with the E going up, and the in the 12th fret. That's the only place that you really could do the E really good, to do that as a lead. Right. So, if you got the E flat, you get an extra space on the top, an extra fret. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. There's some truth to it. Yeah. Yeah. Boomster Black says something about, Pythagoras. Can't spell, he says, but he says Pythagoras, right? Notice the difference between tone in vibration, right? The wider the vibration, right? The more wider versus closer together, right? The more time, because we live in space time. So we're not just in space, we're in space time. So time's happening. And that's also the interesting part about, the split experiment, or whatever, the slit experiment, with when you stop something in its tracks, you're taking a picture of it, or you're killing it in its moment there. You're stopping it and you're observing it when it's stopped. So you're not really observing it throughout its entirety and its entire motion through space-time. So when you take that picture of a photon and you say, oh, this is where it is, but then you take another picture and it's over here, it's like, well, you're just taking pictures at different spots of the photon in its wave form as it's waving through, right? And once you get all, you get enough pictures, then it all makes sense. Then you're like, oh, okay, it's a wave pattern, and there's a lot of other things too about science. And when I took if you've taken any more modern classes on chemistry, you'll understand how the atom, the electrons and neutrons, and I can't remember everything anymore because I don't use these terms in everyday conversation.
In time.
Bottom, an image caught in time. You're basically just taking a picture of something and you've frozen it at that moment in time, and now you have a picture of it, but that's not what its essence is. And now we're talking about essences and all this kind of stuff, right? The entirety of something, the total essence of something, right? Yeah. So you have to be in the flow of the moment, right? And you got to concentrate on that moment. And people actually use music, for example. A lot of people use music to get them in the flow of something. If it's not an actual musical thing, let's say it's a sports thing or whatever. How often do you work listening to music? Because it keeps you going, right? There's a cadence to it often, right? You can,
what
rock and roll is great for that.
The most popular hit songs, what they all have in common?
Probably there's that march time kind of cadence to
120
it, right?
beats per minute.
Bingo, right? And that's a great walking cadence, right? Dun dun dun. Another one rides the bus. or there's the same cadence, right? When you're what's another one that's like that? You can tell by the way I use my walk and movement. No time to talk.
Saturday Night Fever.
The Bee Gees, right? Same walking.
I don't want you to cook my bread.
I don't want you to cook my bread.
I don't want you to feed my head. I don't know because it's sad and blue. I just want to make love to you.
Yeah. That one's a little slower, though, for a reason. A slower cadence, for obvious reasons. But yeah.
Rolling Stones, all right.
Yeah. So what else, you guys? So give me more thoughts about you guys. People in the chat, tell me, have you written your own song before? Totally just inspired to write a song and you just written your own song. And how did you do it? Were you thinking of the notes? Were you thinking of a scale? Were you thinking, or did you just start playing it? Did it just sound to you in the right place? Like sometimes I'll start a song, I'm like, doesn't sound right, and I'll move it to a different part on the neck or on the piano. I'm like, I like it sounding better on these notes here rather than up here because of the frequency. Maybe something about it, right? When you're playing the Jaws theme, let me turn this on. Gotta unwrap this. Does it sound scary when it's like this? Or does it sound more scary like this? Right? I mean, obviously, it doesn't different notes, right? See if you go. Those different notes that you choose might make it sound different, right? Then you might go. So the frequencies, their cadence, the mood that it creates,
like blamage,
right?
They're
the emotion it draws out
are
right.
So unique. But then you play some blues songs, it's the same progression.
Right. Now what's interesting is why does it elicit a different feeling? And now we're getting to this like feely thing. But is that feely thing really some kind of consciousness kind of outside of us kind of thing? Or is it just that genetically, or, it's both biology and experience through life, where we're conditioned in some degree to have elicits that kind of response, and therefore there is no free will? We think we have control, but really we don't. And that's why I call this, do we really have free will, or is it just come through us? Are we creating it, or is it coming out of us from somewhere else, And it's a really interesting topic, I think, to play with, when you write a song, like, have you written a song where it comes through you? So, okay, Devanik says, I've only written about 90 songs. That's a good number of songs. It's always drums first. Very interesting. So you're driven by the rhythm, right? The cadence. Yeah. Well, hey, Alex Radford. What's up, dude? Yeah. Right. And in 89, jamming riffs with my drummer, put several riffs together into an arrangement and kept building the structure and then wrote the lyrics. And that's how the song is made, right? So piece by piece, but then with someone else, like Alex and Ed did, right? Ed would be playing something and Alex would put something on top of it, or maybe Ed was influenced by some kind of drum beat or something that Alex was messing around with because he was trying to replicate the sound of the Ferrari's engine, and it's like, okay, then that becomes, what, the beginning of Everybody Wants Some, or is it Hot for Teacher? I can't remember. I think it's Hot for Teacher. Yeah. The movie Yesterday is a great illustration of where does this music come from. Maybe there are alternate realities that musicians, right? And I don't laugh because I think it's funny. I think it's that musicians just hear these songs in their head and they write themselves, right? Like Einstein dreaming of the equation that he'd been trying to solve, trying to come up with the math to prove what he intuitively observed in the world around him, but didn't know how to express. And then he had a dream, and E equals MC squared came to him.
I had a dream one time, and I should have written it down.
Yeah, man. One of the best things that I heard actually was the psych department head at College of San Mateo, who's a brilliant psychologist and worked with NASA. He was the head of NASA's neuropsychology team, I think, for 7 years. So he works at the community college giving back and works with Zimbardo. I'm thinking football partially today. Yeah. Lombardo Zimbardo over at Stanford here.
You know the old joke?
Prison experiments and all that.
You know the old joke?
Tell me.
She had the face of Bardo, not Brigitte, but Guy Lum.
That's funny. Funny.
Yeah, you have to be old to really appreciate it.
Yeah. I know who Brigitte Bardot is, and she was pretty. But yeah, so practice with sing riffs, walking home from school, and try to remember to write later. And now you just tell your phone. Like I sing stuff into my phone all the time. I'm driving. Usually it's like when I'm relaxed or I'm trying to. I'm not as distracted. So when I'm driving, maybe I love to drive because even though there's crazy people out on the road that you can distract you at times. For the most part, I find myself pretty relaxed when I'm driving. It's almost like you're flying on the road, right? And when I'm in the shower or wherever where there's no distractions, I come up with a lot of musical ideas in those situations because you're freed up from distractions of the world, right? So you're in the zone because you're outside of the rest of the world where it's, being in the zone is outside of the rest, right? Oh, let's hear it.
Did I at least get the sound down?
It's pretty good. Yeah. Here, I got something that goes with that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Right on. Oops. He fell
out. When I had to leave,
do not stand up very well. I might have to Velcro them down.
when I had to leave, he was asking me about Jim. He is a metal master, but he can play anything. And I'm going to put a link to. Do you know who Lori Morgan is?
Who?
Lori Morgan.
Sounds really familiar. I probably do.
She's a country singer, probably with the best country voice, female singer.
That's
ever.
Probably why I don't really know her.
Like her. Yeah. When I was in Pump,
send it to
blonde hair, I look just like her.
Oh wow! Send it to me in.
Okay, well, I just posted one link. That's Lori's greatest hits album.
Okay, you posted it up.
Jim played every instrument on that album in his studio. Then they sent it then she went to Nashville and had it mixed or mastered.
That's cool.
But.
Has Jim been a lifelong musician? Is that what he chose as a profession?
Yeah.
Did he have people in his family that supported him?
Yes.
He's lucky. I'm jealous.
Jim who?
It's a friend
Jim
of his.
Dofka.
Jim Dofka. Yeah. Check it out again, you guys. Dofka on YouTube. Dofka.
Oh, Dofka?
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
Here is one of his, I'll put it right in here too. This is one of his albums.
He did all the music in this Lorrie Morgan picture.
He did everything. Drums, bass, banjo, acoustic, violin, guitar, everything.
Cool.
And then the last one is one of his own albums, and he's progressive metal.
Yeah, put that in there too, because I want to.
I did.
It's in. Okay, it'll pop up in a second. Looking for it.
Check him out.
Here we go. Going to the live chat. Here we go. All right. Dofka, Humanity Bleak.
Yeah.
Okay, just subscribe to him. Oh, he only has 120. Oh, that's on the topic one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta find Dofka. Is there a way? Okay, let's see. Is there a way to find Dofka that's not the topic Dofka?
So we can
look. I'll just look up Dofka. Is that like a name, or what is Dofka?
That's his real last name. But that's the name.
Yeah.
He had Screamer, Psycho Scream, and Dofka.
Keeps getting. Okay, there's somebody else posted one of these. I'm trying to find his actual page. So I'm getting a lot of other stuff. Guitar with Dofka, noodling with Dofka. Is that it?
Yeah, that's his instruction page.
That's okay. I'm going to click on that.
I want to say something.
Just subscribe to that. So he has less subscribers than I do. So you guys jump on there, because I'm still trying to make 1,000 this year, you guys. I was trying to make 1,000 last year. Yeah. All right. Send a link to my WhatsApp, please. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was me.
So that's what you prefer is WhatsApp?
Yeah, because
I have you on Instagram, I have you on Messenger, and I have you on WhatsApp. So
yeah, but when I open the Messenger on this computer, it takes forever to load the messages.
Okay. Gotcha.
And seeing as how you got me after you was ready to start.
I know that would help if I got you. Yeah, if I wasn't busy with otherwise life, I would be more on top of this. But this is still kind of a hobby. I mean, I do appreciate people that have supported my channel by sending PayPals, by the way. You can PayPal me. And I am planning, as I keep saying for years now, that at some point I will monetize and actually make this a real show, as Johnny Bean would say. But I just haven't, had the ability to do that. You have to pay bills, and, there's no for sure when it comes to doing something like this as a way of making a living. So it's pretty tough to take that, that leap. And I think the smart way to do it is kind of like what Phil McKnight did, I think, is he continued to do his own business and then became full-time YouTube, still does the consulting, but he has some background in consulting and business planning and all that. He had his own successful music store for a while, right? And then from that decided to do YouTube full-time instead. And the bottom line is he built up to that. I think it wasn't until he got to 10,000 subscribers when he decided that, okay, I think I can maybe really take a go at this as a real way of making a living. And his whole family, for the most part, his wife especially, are in on it too. So it's how he feeds his family. So for someone like me to get to that point, I don't have the same background as he does. Johnny has like a bigger background in the music industry. Even Ron, you have way more background than I do in the music industry. I had a studio in the 90s, but it wasn't anything super, groundbreaking.
You mean like when you started playing music?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is to make money. Yeah, to make money in the music industry, whether it's making music or producing other people or doing YouTube or whatever it is, talking about music or whatever. Yeah, Phil McKnight's one of my favorites, Ian. He's one of my early influences on doing this in the first place. And the reason why I like YouTube, because I can't stop talking anyway, so it gives me a forum. I'm built for this. I never wanted to be anyone famous or have fame. I never found that to be an attractive thing, and it's probably one of the things that turned me off in the music industry in the first place, because that's what they use to try to entice you to produce you, and then the managers and the production companies. You got to be driven enough to be willing, like the Van Halens, to do almost anything it takes to sign any contract to get made and get signed, because that's how hard it is. It's cutthroat, man. Now, as a self-made person, you can actually, be out there on YouTube and Insta and TikTok and whatever, and take advantage of all the social media out there. Like Mary Spender, I highly, regard as an up-and-coming, singer-songwriter, to make a living at doing this. But it's tough, like what Henning has done.
No matter what level of music. I mean, this local scene is that I'm, it's awful.
Well, it's awful in the sense that it's beautiful and great, but at the same time, how can you make money at something that people want to
get for free?
Well, people will pay for music. I pay for it, but how do you as a musician make money at it? And there are ways that you can become a wedding band kind of, you do gigs like that constantly, or you become a session player or something, or you become a producer and you just do it, and you just, no matter what it takes, no matter how broke you are, and if you're eating Wheaties every day and a banana or two here and there, and some people are that driven to where they're what I always thought about the Van Halen thing, what was always fascinating to me is they always talked about how, they didn't have money to buy the expensive pedals to create their sound. And I always thought that's kind of a little BS, because they spent plenty of money on alcohol. And if you didn't drink, you'd have lots of money to buy pedals, So there was a little bit of I was like going, that's just what they're saying. But really, they may not have had money to buy any kind of gear they wanted. But really, all you need, if you really, all you really need to make music is an amp, a guitar, and maybe 5 or 6 pedals. And with that, you could probably do so many different genres of music. It's mind bending. So then it's just up to you and your ability to find time to practice and then find a sound that no one else has, or to create something unique and new. Like listen to Eric Johnson is just as good of a player as so many other great players out there, but he came up with a sound that was unique when he did that, that song that everyone always refers back to, that one particular Cliffs of Dover tone. And that was with a 3-3-5, but he doesn't even play a 3-3-5 on stage most of the part. It's a Strat. But the point is that he can get that sound with a Strat too. So what I'm saying is that as a creative person, where does it all come from? The question in this show being, is it some mystical place and conscious kind of affecting thing that we don't even understand? Or is it just I think it's a combination of both. I think there's definitely something to the unknown and the mystical mystery of where we all come from, life and everything, the universe, why we all here, how and why it all works the way it does. It's magical. When you dig into the physics of the universe, you start to go, wow, how unique. If you do the, like the people who've done the math, one thing's a little bit off, none of it would be here. It'd be all gone, right? So there wouldn't even be a universe. So there's all these really interesting, like magical things about existence in the first place, and we're discovering more and more about our place in it and how big and infinite perhaps the universe is or will be. It continues to grow. My wife had a child in her Montessori school who's only 4.5 years old. Ask her this question. He's a smart kid, she says, and he is. He asked her, "What's the biggest number?" Miss Ledane, the teacher. And she says, "Well, I don't know if there's really one biggest number, because even if you have infinity, which you could say is the biggest concept of a number, you could still add another number to it and then it would be bigger. So it never stops being bigger. Is there really one number that's the biggest? There really isn't." So it's a really good question. Maybe you should, grow up and help us understand this, because
yes, and Keith's wife. Yep. She was about 30 minutes from me for almost a month recording that with him, and he never called me.
Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, write commercial jingles, right? Yeah, sell out your songs to, sell Cadillacs. I mean, hey, you got to put groceries on the table, right? That's the thing. And whether it was Mozart trying to put bread on the table or to please his dad, writing music, and then eventually he just started to write music that the people really started to appreciate, after he was kind of turned away by the king of Austria, whoever, right? But yeah, the bottom line is too many notes, right? The bottom line is that it's not easy, right? But why do we do it? Because it makes us feel good, right? And then we're back to that thing about what makes us feel good. And then why do we feel things? These questions, right? And we are always chasing that good feeling. Nobody wants the bad feeling, But then when somebody who doesn't understand heavy metal, like what thrash metal was talking about before too, but then experiences it in a different, more cathartic expression of whatever, or whatever you want to call it, you feel good, when you run out and you just, doesn't it feel great? And then people that meditate have that same feeling.
Did you ever watch the live video of Pantera Domination over at the Moscow Festival?
No, put that in the
at that particular time, there was almost 1 million people in the crowd going freaking nuts.
You know what? Yeah.
And well, what was well, first off, that was also voted the best live heavy metal guitar solo ever recorded. Wow. I mean, as far as on video, but the crowd, I mean, almost 1 million people right there, and they're into the music.
Yeah, and isn't that amazing? And they're all on the same wave. They're all on the same frequency with each other, right? And maybe that's something about music that's why it connects us the way it does. That magic of it is that we're all now on that wave together, right? And we might as well bring in Johnny Bean and he can give us his ending show 2 cents. He's buying some alcohol for something tonight. He looks like you're at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, Trader Joe's, Redwood City.
Yeah,
Johnny Bean
reporting. Doing in Redwood City.
Came to visit a friend over here.
Awesome. Yeah, I hear we might be visiting with some friends next weekend on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
Is that something you can talk about?
Yeah, we're going to a Jason Becker benefit show.
Woo!
Saturday,
That's gonna
man.
be awesome. Right on.
Tony McAlpine is going to be there.
Dang. Yeah.
Bunch of people. It's going to be great. So
wow.
By the way, I just want to say I bought your ticket for that.
I know.
If anybody's listening.
Johnny Bean. See, he'll get a little slipping of the tongue here on my show.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome, man.
What's up, Dwight? Oh, it will be. Yeah. Johnny and I. See, I keep bringing up the word hijinks, and this is what I mean. There's hijinks.
Dude, this is gonna be fun.
Like, one of the hijinks that occurred last week Thursday, at the Alex Van Halen shows, there was some turd dude that was in line there too, who just totally like.
The motherfucker wouldn't even turn around, man. What a fucking coward that guy.
Oh, he saw us. He was, and he talks all this big talk.
Well, he
looking for us at NAMM and stuff like that. But
he did talk the show prior to that event.
Of course he did. Yeah. And then I walked in. Actually, when I went to buy my T-shirt, he was 2 or 3 people in front of me, and I knew he knew, because we all went. And then as he turned around, he went around the other way so that whatever. When I walked back, I was looking right at him when I walked right by him and actually rubbed his arm as I walked by, and he turned away like this. I'm like, oh no, my God.
That guy is such a coward, man. All right, I gotta go.
It's sad.
The last post I did is
rock,
that
dude. Johnny comes in, drops some F-bombs, and leaves.
ASMR tonight, Johnny? ASMR?
Bye-bye.
ASMR tonight? You going to do a show today?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I might do some live stuff on Twitch, actually, from here.
Oh, cool.
Maybe.
Hey, I'm going to ask you about Twitch, because I found a way to bring Instagram up on my thing, but I have to be a pro thing. Anyway, you'll give me some advice on that, I'm sure. Yeah. The Hitman, Dwight Bailey, in the chat saying hi to everybody. Hello, Johnny B. Yeah, but anyway, we'll see this NAMM if
I gotta go.
Mr. Courage has something to say. All right,
I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you, Johnny. You guys. So, Johnny Bean. If those guys would just do a show about themselves and things that they were interested in, not make fun of Johnny and me and whoever else they want to like throw under whatever the thing is. The bottom line is that they could maybe just come up with their own shtick and not make their shtick about, other people, and then talk about us like, oh, they're gonna really get you and all this kind of BS. It's like, yeah, maybe because he was by himself there, or maybe he was with some friends. But anyway, I don't think that the guy really is a violent or anything like that type of person. I think it's just all like talk, It's locker room talk, as it's one of the presidential people has that locker room talk that it's just locker room talk, But
the last link I put in is at Domination Live in front of
right on. Check
almost
it out,
1 million people.
Yeah, but can't we all just get along? Can't we all just like enjoy music and create music and be happy and be nice to each other? Be nice.
Egos won't let that happen. Sadly.
Sure, I think there's a good part of ego that you can. It's like the Force, you could either choose the dark side or the light side. If you want to choose the dark side of things and want to go down the low path and just be a jerk, and there are people that get off on it. People are excited by that. It's exciting to hear, oh, the fight's on. Let's go see the accident.
Well,
at the racetrack,
in all my years of playing, I've never once said I was better than anybody else.
Yeah,
because there's always someone better than me. And now that I'm going to be 60 and I've had 2 operations on carpal tunnel, I can't do what I did when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
hey, they wanted to do a surgery on my neck, they said you might not be able to turn your head like this afterwards, and I'm like, I can't drive and I'm like, you know what? I'll take my chances. I'm just gonna have to cut. Happy birthday, Godzilla, dude! I grew up on Godzilla. Happy birthday, Godzilla! I'm gonna have to watch a Godzilla movie today. I'm definitely gonna watch Godzilla.
If you download Pluto TV,
2006.
Pluto, yeah, I have Pluto. Yeah.
Okay, there's an all Godzilla channel, 24/7.
I'll go look that up, dude. I'm gonna definitely have that on all day.
Anterior cervical disc fusion in 2006.
Oh, trash metal! You know what the drama is, don't you? Anyway, we don't need to go into that anymore. But
party on, dudes!
Sad. People that used to be on Johnny's show that are no longer on Johnny's show because they decided to go away from Johnny's show and then trash Johnny's show, even though he did nothing but support them the whole time that they were on his show. But when they did their own show, they decided to, trash him, and so that's what that drama is all about. It's just jerks that have big egos that created a reason to hate on Johnny and now spread that hate on YouTube. And we find it very sad because it's caused division within the community that doesn't need to be there, just like other kinds of divisions that are going on in the world. Instead of finding a way to work through our problems and, if we have a disagreement on something, we can try to work out our differences and come to some common, look at a problem and find commonality in needing to solve the problem. Combine our ideas of how to solve that problem and then have some effective change and take action that actually helps rather than just continues to allow the problem to fester or whatnot. That's what I'm about. That's why I like to do this show on Sundays. This is the Music is Therapy show where I try to bring some ideas about how music affects us in a positive way, connects us and helps people. There's all forms of actual medical therapy and health kind of therapy going on with music. It's been used throughout time in meditation and other ways to calm, all these things. there's theories I have that if I would have continued my education in psychology and in neuroscience that I was very interested in, I would have done my PhD on, where I believe my dissertation would have been on my theory of how I believe sound in not just nature, but our exposure to our environment is where we then created not just music, but language, and how that caused our way of thinking to go to a higher level, which thus formed a greater, brain capability and expansion of our brain and way of thinking of who and what we are and consciousness and everything. So I think a lot of it comes from music. And I think music is like fundamental to our being in this universe.
Every time I ever had to have an MRI that was going to take, an hour or more, I would always bring the CD for the soundtrack to the movie Somewhere in Time by John Barry and have him pump that through.
I'll usually just think of something myself. Like, I remember when I was having some eye surgery done on my left eye that have like a cock eye, if you know what they call that, like a lazy eye. I tried to have it, my ex-wife wanted me to get it surgically corrected as much as possible because it bothered her. And so I went through that ridiculous amount of money and pain just for that. It probably didn't really do very much because I found out over time how my eye got burnt. The back of my muscle tissue in the back of my eye was burnt by oxygen given to me at birth because I didn't cry right away. And they put a man face mask with 100% oxygen right over my face and partially over my eyes. Luckily, they didn't blind both my eyes. They just blinded my left eye and I can see. Otherwise, I would have ended up like Ray Charles, playing music blindly all my life. But yeah, Ron, you were going to say something.
I like the MRI.
Yeah, you moved right up onto the mic like you wanted to say something, but I was talking.
Yeah. Well, not really. Other than there's a. Did you ever? Ronnie Millsap, don't you?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, another country singer, right?
Country singer. That,
I don't know a lot about country, but yeah.
He is blind.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so is that guy.
One of his biggest hits.
Stuff, right?
One of his biggest hits was "There's a stranger in my house, someone I can't see."
Oh no, that's freaky. Man. Yeah, there you go, man. Right? All right. So Eddie Faye, we can end on this, right? May those who love us, right, love us. And for those who don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if he doesn't turn their hearts, may he turn their ankles. This sounds biblical. So we may identify them by their limp.
Yeah, because you never know. Right?
Yeah. You know what's sad? This year, I'll end on this. And those guys, if they're watching, take this for what it is. You can come back to the light. Say sorry, ask for forgiveness for being jerks, and just bury it. Bury the hate. Bury all that BS. Nobody needs it. There's so many things that matter more in this life, and friendships that you guys had that are now gone could be rebuilt. I think so. Maybe Johnny's beyond it or past it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have maybe he doesn't care.
And
maybe he doesn't want to be fooled again. There's that old saying.
Change your calendar.
Yeah.
Last.
I don't have the calendar up on the wall anymore because that lady just left my channel too, and she laughs along with
I did it this morning.
Or part of that crew.
Well, you thought I was going to be one of those guys, Les. So
no, I didn't think you were going to be one of those guys. I just, like Johnny and anyone else, we were wondering, well, is Ron just coming here so he can build up a channel for himself? And that's okay. I think it's perfectly. Johnny's fine with that. He doesn't have a problem with that. But, to talk crap, I mean, that's,
I don't, it's not in my, I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah, you weren't.
I mean, you believe me, if you start doing that, Italian women, when they get me, you will get hit in the head with a pan.
The thing is, they have their own rationale. They have a rationale to their thinking. They created, some whatever you want to call it, rhetoric or whatever. They created some story. All right, they created a story that they now believe, and they're basing, their attitude on that story.
Well, I mean, because one of the comments that Johnny made was, when those guys were on his show, they wouldn't wear headphones.
They didn't do anything.
They wouldn't upgrade none of their equipment.
Better.
Yeah. So to prove to Johnny and even you, because like again, you guys at the beginning, I went ahead and spent a few $1,000s to upgrade my end of his show, so you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Right.
Or he wouldn't have to worry about it. So, and I have
Well,
no intention of doing anything myself.
Well, Janice, you have a limited income and stuff. We're not expecting you to go out and spend thousands of dollars. As a matter of fact, I was just now responding again or writing another note to Reverb. Where's my Shure SMB microphone and Rode thing that I spent almost $500 on that still hasn't come to me? And now the shop that sold it to me is no longer online on Reverb, and somehow they got their money even though I never received it. And I don't even understand how they could get the payment without it actually arriving to me. So that just boggles my mind how that happened. So now I'm waiting for them to respond again, and on Monday again I'm going to be in communication with them, asking them, look, I never received it. Check the tracking information that's in the email here. It was sitting at some place over there on the East Coast, never even made it close to where I live in the West Coast. The address information was correct. He gave me incorrect tracking number information twice. I think he was just scamming me. And I think that now he's gone, you guys can't get the money back from him. Well, you're liable because you say that you guarantee these things. You should not have paid him if he hadn't gotten it to me. And I responded in the appropriate time and everything. I looked up all the info on their website as to, what happened. I responded to him in time. He was just playing some game. I could tell something wasn't right. And now he's no longer selling anything on Reverb. Well, he had almost 1,000 positive reviews. So I thought, okay, this is somebody who's got a lot of positive reviews. So, and he was concerned about having positive reviews because he asked me, why didn't I, send him a positive review yet? And I haven't received the stuff yet. So anyway, bottom line is that I still haven't gotten it. And this was in July when I purchased $500 worth of stuff that I haven't received yet. Should have gotten to me in a week. All right.
Yep.
So I've been waiting, but now I bought another interface. I have this SSL interface. I do have other, good quality studio mics that I can hook up to this, and I can then send this to Janice. And then Janice, you just got to plug this directly into a laptop, and you're good to go because it's a USB mic, and it's a good quality one. It's not like one of those other ones you sent me pictures of. Don't buy those.
That you got there.
This one is it's really good. It's better than the system you're using.
I really feel like I need to have one that's mine. That
this will be yours. Well, this was somebody else before it became mine, but the bottom line is that if you don't want this, I won't send it to you. But then what you need to do, and we can talk about this off air, and we have already before.
Sure.
You need to have a setup that you do for live streaming like this when you're in a show. And you can't be doing other stuff at the same time. You're either on it or you're not.
Some people do a whole show just using their earbuds.
Right. But that's because they're not doing two things at once. I think part of what you do is you have Sandra's show at the same time. You're using two different systems to hear and listen and do stuff. If you're going to do a podcast, like if I'm going to raise the level of this show and my channel up to like podcast level, which is the next step, and that's when I'd start to monetize, because now I'm going to be spending real money into making something and spending real time into making this show. Not that I don't already. Making this show something more valuable to you guys where I feel like, okay, can you guys help out with this and, pay for it in the sense that if you really like it and you're willing to see that I put the value into it for you, then, there's value there. I want to build the value first. I think that's important. So once that value is there, I would hope people would respond, reciprocate by supporting the show. And then as I develop it further, just like Johnny has, now he's got over 10,000 plus, 12, almost 13,000 subscribers now. He can possibly start making an actual living off this, and then you're at a different level. Then you can start doing real quality demo videos, not just on a live stream like I do. It's kind of like not really high quality because I'm just doing stuff like a demo of this live. It was cool, but it's not the same as a video where you're doing a concentrated video demoing the product where, it's just 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and bam, now you know what it's all about. And you can move on to the next video because you want to have a lot of different opinions on something to get a consensus of what this thing does. Is it worth my money or whatever? Right? That's what YouTubers do. That's where you can make money being a YouTuber. You do demos, You offer an opinion. People that are like in this chat right now, they know you to some degree because of your experiences with me. As am I a trustable guy or not? Am I going to bullshit you or not? Am I what do they call it? What does Henning say? What they sometimes call him? Oh God, just somebody that just will say anything to make the money. They'll lie or they'll make up stuff just to make, sometimes use too high a quality. That's why I think sometimes these live stream kind of videos are actually good for demoing, because it gives you a real sense of the real sound in the room. But, What amp are you using? What guitar are you using? That's why I tried to do that one direct in, just straight to the amp and then through some other pedals and give you a little idea of what it sounds like. This coming Thursday, the Gear and Demo show will be a little bit deeper dive on that thing, and I'll do some comparison up against like another Distortion Plus, because people were asking, how's it like versus another Distortion Plus? Is it really a special one? It's definitely not like what Johnny was saying, where you just plug this into any amp and it'll get you that sound. No, this is a replica of Randy's Distortion Plus, the actual one that his sister has in possession, right? The family has in possession, along with his other pedals. Yeah, exactly. So this is a replica of that pedal down to every circuit, and MXR reproduced this, and that's why it's a special edition of that exact same thing. I don't know if they're going to recreate every single circuit like this exactly the same.
The sound's supposed to be identical,
right? Yeah. But it is basically an MXR Distortion Plus from the 80s or late 70s. That's what it is. It is not some special Randy tone. To get Randy's tone, you need everything Randy used to really get his tone. You need his guitar, his type and length of cable, his strings, his pickups, his pedals that he would use, and the same way that he set those things up, going in front of the amp, right? There was no effects loops back then. Going through the front of the amp, and then sometimes he had more than one cabinet set up and whatnot, because he had one where he would run effects into, and some of the other ones weren't run into that, right? So you'd have the dry sound and then the wet sound. That's why I was saying, do this a wet dry setup. You really get the tone right? And then you have to have those speakers, because he liked the really high frequency kind of thing.
Altec
speakers, Altec Lansing, right? Altec speakers.
Yeah, he took all the Marshall ones out.
Yeah, the Celestians out or whatever were in them. Yep. And why? Because he didn't like the muddy sound that was created with those tones that he was doing. And so he wanted a more clear, cutting, more modern. Really, I think in many ways, that's where the real modern metal sound comes from, because the modern metal sound is not sludgy. And even Van Halen talked about that. And even that's why you see a lot of Van Halen, the EVH amps out there being used by metal people. There's no sludge. It's much more cha, 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 cha. You can do that kind of stuff because the clarity of each note comes through. And so when you hear Randy play, especially if you've seen him live or seen any of the live stuff, and I have seen him live once, but I was very young and still remember it. But how good that memory is, I don't know. But I do recall how killer it sounded. And he has this cutting sound. And some people say, they don't like that sound, like Dave Friedman, and I didn't like his sound. Well, maybe the first recording didn't quite capture.
Give me a song to pay attention to.
I don't know. You can. Blizzard of Oz is one. I mean, Revelation Mother Earth is a great sound that has his clean all the way into his distorted sound. Revelation Mother Earth is one of my favorites, because you really, you can hear the clean tone stuff that he does, the acoustic stuff that he does, and then you hear him going into that roaring in the later part of the song, that metal grinding kick-ass kind of damn, I love that sound.
Diary of a Madman.
Diary of a Madman's another good one. Yeah,
write this down, Janice. Diary of a Madman.
Let's put it in here. Okay, road songs to know.
Mr. Crowley.
I think I know Mr. Crowley.
Okay,
but I never really listened to it, though,
what's
to really see it.
I don't want to get you copyright.
Yeah, I know. Oops, Revelation.
I never really hear yours anyway.
So those are three good songs. Blizzard of Oz is another good one too, but I mean, just listen to the two first Ozzy songs when he went solo after Sabbath. So Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman.
And you can't kill rock and roll.
Oh, that's one of my other favorites. Yeah,
yep.
That's great. Yeah. You know what I loved about Ozzy, which was kind of opposite of the David Lee Roth, Ted Templeman, heavy metal or heavy rock music, anti-metal kind of. They kept saying that they wanted them to be this hard rock metal band, but they had keyboards throughout. It wasn't used in a pop way. It was used in the similar kind of neoclassical or classical rock kind of. Listen to Rainbow. Listen to Deep Purple. My God, a lot of that stuff is definitely classically oriented, organ, metal sounding, kind of churchy, classical sounding stuff. Bach, whatever, that kind of stuff is throughout that music. And that's what attracted me to it, because the classical aspect of it, I was very attracted to growing up, admiring and listening to a lot of that kind of music. Yeah, John Lord. Hell, man. Yeah, what a player, right? That guy. Damn.
You know who was very good but never got the credit he deserved?
Bob Daisley.
Well, I'm talking about keyboards.
Yeah. Okay. Who?
Ray Manzarek. Manzarek.
Dude, Ray Manzarek, I think, if anything, not just the keyboard player, but also the bass player of the band
with his feet. Yep.
That's right. A lot of people.
Imagine two different keyboards, one here, and plus your feet playing the bass.
But see, an organist in a church does that. That's what they do. They know.
He always remind me of Schroeder.
Yeah, Tom Petty's keyboard player too. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know all the members of all bands and stuff like that. Like I wish I did. I never was like that great at that. But my players I would know. Yeah, Inagata de Villa by Slayer. I gotta watch. I'm sure there's a version of that, right? That you gotta check out. But man, the show's getting way longer than I expected. But that's all good. Got somebody in private chat. Who was that? Janice wrote, "Who was that in the private chat?" I don't know who was that. Rick Wakeman. Yeah, man. Yeah, the J Gals got my favorite, Billy Joel. Elton John before him, and the Beatles, of course, throughout with piano and keyboards. So much good keyboard. It's just, you can't say you can't have keyboards in rock and roll. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. But the bottom line is that he proved them wrong when he built 5150 studios and created the sound that they really wanted. Alex talks a lot about that in that book. Check it out. If you haven't heard that, if it's still up somewhere, the show that we went to, the event where he was interviewed by the co-writer, or I think basically she wrote down what he was telling her. So I think that's how that happened.
You know who she reminded me of?
Who?
Deborah Winger.
Yeah, she has a Deborah Winger kind of
look. Yep.
A look. Yeah. Very intelligent and promising writer out of the New Yorker, and I think you'll find other things that she's written that's really great. And then of course Keith Emerson, right? Yeah. I remember when I went and first saw Yngwie, he had that keyboardist, I forget his name too, and they were trading riffs. That guy's amazing. Rising Force.
He stole the Johansson brothers from Europe.
That's who it is? The Johansson brothers, the keyboardist, and what, maybe the bassist?
The drummer.
The drummer.
Europe the band?
Wow. Yeah.
Or Europe the country?
What now?
Oh, Europe the band or Europe the country? Probably the band.
Europe.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. If anyone, who was it that was, I think it was Trash Metal, was asking about what was that all about, or somebody else asked about what those guys, what was it all about? I think they just decided to, Mark's Gas Station. What happened to those guys? They just suddenly quit. We heard from a friend of ours at NAMM when we were actually looking to hook up and meet up with the nerd guy down in NAMM, because we always did, because at least not we, I never met him personally, but Johnny always did, and he just wasn't interested in meeting up with Johnny. As a matter of fact, he told that friend of ours, F Johnny, I'm not going to give that guy any more free content. So, and then we kind of knew something was going on, because all those guys at the same time decided to tell Johnny that they're no longer available, because they just want to take a break and family and this and that. And then next thing you know, they're doing a show. But they said, oh, they had no intention of doing a show and just BSing about that. And then they did do a show. But if you watch their first show, not that I want anyone to go give them views, but if you do go watch their first show, and if they didn't erase my comments after the show, I was in the show. I was trying to support them a little bit, thinking they were going to be cool. But boy, their whole show, especially the nerd guy, decided to go after Johnny for some BS reasons and hate on him. And I think it's just ego, like what you're saying, Ron. I think whenever he was on Johnny's show, he always kind of, playing behind him in the background, but much more noisily than you. I mean, more distractingly. And the bottom line is that he didn't, he wanted the show to be about him. He didn't like it when other guests were on, like me or anyone else. When he was on, he wanted it to be about him. And then he just pulled those guys away and, created all kinds of reasons why they should hate on Johnny and why Johnny's a jerk, according to him. And just basically tried to tank Johnny's show, took all his subscribers, joined them. All the supporters that were with Johnny left and went to him. People that were really good friends of Johnny's, no longer friends of Johnny's. They're all making fun of him and me and everybody else that they don't like. And they made their show all about that, like just throwing people under the bus. That's the name of their show. So that's their way of having fun out there. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that enjoy that kind of crap. They like to watch the train go off the rails. They like to watch look at the accident. You know what I mean? There are people that are voyeurs of that kind of thing, and so they have a lot of people that enjoy that kind of stuff and they think it's funny, and in some ways it is. But if you're actually purposefully trying to hurt somebody that was trying to be a friend to you and help you, like Johnny always did to everybody,
I kept getting messages and I don't know who they were from. I don't know how they were doing that, but they were coming on my regular messenger, and it was links to certain parts of their shows. Where they were talking about you or Johnny or even me.
Yeah, there might be some people out there trying to be like some kind of, I don't know, maybe some people think they're helping, Johnny doesn't care. He, those guys decided to just be jerks to him and never.
Well, I mean, what I've watched, it's like a bunch of 5-year-olds looking, it's like a bunch of 5th graders looking at their dad's Playboy for the first time. That's about the level of.
Yeah. Bottom line is that they'll pepper in other information about Van Halen because they all want to talk about Van Halen too, and the bottom line is that they just all decided to hate on Johnny instead of appreciate him, for whatever reason. And maybe they don't like how Johnny can be making jokes. We make jokes about each other, just like my brother and I talk shit to each other. I don't know. I guess their egos couldn't allow that, and so that was that. Because Johnny will make fun of you, he'll make fun of me, I make fun of him. We make fun of each other all the time. People sometimes get all flustered about it. It's like, look, you guys, we're just a bunch of stupid guys, just sometimes being stupid. But that's what happened. So yeah, if you're still here, Mark's gas station, that is exactly what happened. And I called them out for being hypocrites. I called them out for it right from the get-go. I'm like, look, you guys, why are you being jerks? What do you mean he wasn't supporting you? Supposedly this guy said that Johnny just ghosted him and wasn't, supporting him. For 6 months, he wasn't answering his messages or whatever, which is BS, because just months before that, he was supporting the guy's band's show at that metal cruise or whatever it was.
And the whole time,
come on, man.
And the whole time, he's sending them links every single week, and nobody's responding to the links.
Right.
So go on to the show.
Yeah. So the bottom line is they lied. They lied to everybody. They've been lying to everybody in their community about him and me and anyone else. For whatever reason, they didn't like me, I guess. Maybe I was intruding on their territory. Whatever.
You're the sheep herder.
Yeah, I'm the sheep herder. Well, I guess they're maybe the real sheep herders. Sorry to say, calling their community sheep. But the bottom line is that they weren't being cool. They were being really uncool, and they continue to be uncool. As a matter of fact, they make
it's
false,
like 5th grade humor.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they create, which is actually, in my mind, it's against, from what I understand, it's totally against YouTube's, rules. Yeah, I don't believe that you're allowed to use someone else's avatar and pretend to be them and use them and like say that you're me or say that you're Johnny and then say things in the chat and go to other channels too. They actually will use fake Johnny Bean and fake Music Therapy Laz avatars and go into other channels like Steve from Boston or some other places. And Johnny's like, hey, that's not me, man. Or, oh yeah, that is me. But, so they create all this misinformation and this kind of distraction out there. And they're just trying to get other people to hate on Johnny for whatever reason. And it's sad. And maybe that's because, the way they did it, they can't back out of now. Either they apologize for their stupid behavior or they, and out themselves, which they're not going to do because they don't have the courage to be real. And I'm calling you out right now, dude and dudes. Have the courage to be honest with everyone. Have the courage. Don't be a what. You were like that at the show that we were at last Thursday. Couldn't face me. Couldn't face Johnny. Why? I know why you can't face us.
Last Thursday?
You have no courage to be a real person and to really look at someone as a human being and respond to them with a real truthness, a real truth, a real meaning. They'll probably pick this apart and use this and make memes about it and whatever. Who cares? Bottom line is that is what happened. That's what continues to happen. And there are people like this in the world. There are people that get off on this. And I'm sad. Like I said to Johnny, if anything, I'm sad for them, And if they ever did apologize, guess what? No one has to accept your apology either. So even if you do, don't be surprised if it's not accepted. Okay? Don't be surprised. It is what it is. But that's my 2 cents on that.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line. And it's a waste of time to some degree to waste my energy on it. But the bottom line is that Johnny's blocked all those people. I've blocked a lot of them. Even we had an issue with Tony. I tried to be cool with Tony, and let him still be in shows. And then he came onto my show, just says hi to people out there. So he appears to be cool. And then he starts, just dishing shit on Johnny on his show. Why? What's your problem, man? If you don't like something,
no original content.
Just because Johnny blocked you because you were being mean to him, now you're upset that he blocked you. Oh, sorry that you got blocked for bad.
I have it all inside my head.
So that's what it is.
All the steps of the way.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I was there. I saw it all happen. I saw what happened with Dave too. I'm sorry to say, but Dave Nesdall did it first.
He's a star. He was a star
just on a show instead of talking to Johnny off. Hey, dude, I want to do my own show. Can you support it? I'm going through all this physical stuff in life. I don't know how long I'm going to live. Maybe I might not last that long. And I kind of want to do my own thing. If you don't mind, will you support it? Johnny would have been all for it, dude. He would have totally been for it. He wouldn't have cared. It would have been another extension of even Johnny Bean's good name out there for all the good things he does.
But the thing came to a head.
The way he did it was a real, and I think he had a little bit of, I think there too, I think some people were maybe manipulating Dave a little bit, influencing Dave to do it the way he did. And Dave even said to Johnny, like, hey, are we still cool? Johnny's like, yeah, sure, But he never invited Johnny onto his show. He never included him in as part of it, like Johnny always did with them. Everything he did, he always tried to support these people by helping them back to the show they wanted to do. But
the whole thing came to a head when Nesdall passed away.
Yeah, I guess there's another entity involved in that too that probably didn't like Johnny and was trying to pull Johnny away. Dave away from Johnny. I'm not going to go into names and all this stuff, but there's somebody close, to Dave that maybe wanted Dave to do his own thing and probably was saying, F Johnny, do your own thing, But then it became like really, really F Johnny and do your own thing instead of like, hey, why don't, maybe it can help you,
Here's my take on it. I wasn't around for any of that. I came in with the Oklahoma guy.
Yeah,
which was bad enough.
That was pretty bad.
But
oh god,
it's so I was getting the cryptic messages. I'd go watch what they were sending me, and it was like again, it's like 5th grade level humor that a bunch of 5th grade guys got a hold of their dad's Playboy and saw a naked woman for the first time. But then they're like, well, Johnny this, Johnny that. We're not copying Johnny, but yet one of them has Johnny's old house as his background almost 99% of the time, and they're still always talking about Johnny. So, yes, you're still riding off Johnny's coattails is how I see it, one way or the other. So,
yes, to all those trash. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what went down. And I don't know if they kept my comments up, but, I really couldn't understand why they were going after Johnny when they did. And I stood up for Johnny because he's my friend. And I couldn't understand. I thought they were his friend too. But this is why Johnny in so many ways is jaded by a lot of these kind of people out there that will take advantage of him and his platform. And like when you were saying we didn't know about you, I'm like, hey, you don't know. We weren't saying it in a negative way. Ron, don't get it wrong. Yeah, I think you understand that.
Yeah.
We were just saying we don't know with Ron,
and that's right. And again, I was hoping that
we both were like, well, we'll see,
Well, I was hoping that, by me purchasing all this stuff to make my end of his show better, that you guys would realize, hey, maybe he's serious.
Yeah.
Because I got no desire
to serious, but
show.
but you have a real affinity for Johnny being the same way as I do. He brought me, good or bad, into this Van Halen world, Now all this stuff would still exist without the Van Halen craziness if it wasn't for Johnny, because I was already getting into it because of Phil McKnight and because of my first influence, which is Henning Pauly. I've been to Gear Street. I went to Gear Street 4. I was there. I did a few videos of my own. I never uploaded them because I'm not pro enough to do it properly. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I actually have it right here. Right here. I did a demo, an actual professional demo with Henning's equipment there in Studio B of those 3 big orange block, reproductions of their very first pedals. I actually did a video of that, and the guy actually, hey, that was pretty good, and I still haven't uploaded it because he wants me to do it the right way with the intro and the whole, and I don't know how to do it yet. I haven't had the time to learn how to properly edit video and do all this, and so at some point I might upload that and say, hey, here's a blast from the past. I did that one video of when I was at Headings where I walked through and I said, don't do YouTube because it's a rough life. If you haven't seen that, that's funny. Check it out.
I got on the show one night because Johnny and Oklahoma Joe were saying send pictures of your guitar.
Yeah,
and that's and I'm like, okay, you want pictures, so I started sending pictures. And then it just grew from there, and now I mean, I consider Johnny a great friend. I consider you a great friend. I consider Janice a great friend. Yeah. And I've made so many good friends in the chat, and some of them have I've contacted by phone. Like Skyprop and I are going to eat at Burgatory, but he's only about 50 minutes away from me. Yeah. So it's
he's always
turned into something. And through Johnny, I got to become friends with Bob Daisley.
Okay.
I'm watching.
Janice will be back. You know what? We're gonna end the show anyway, so we'll see you later. I'll take you off, Janice.
That's okay.
All right. I'm gonna remove.
But
her.
Yeah, I mean, and because of Johnny, we did the Randy Rhodes show.
Yeah.
And then I got to. Now I'm friends with Bob. I mean, I literally
would any Bob of this happen? This is why I always tell him, dude, I'm so appreciative of you because none of the stuff would be going on. I mean, I might have broken in some other way, like I was. I met, like I said, I've met a bunch of these people, and I met Ben Coombs was really nice to me. As a matter of fact, recently I stopped supporting his show financially. I've been doing $10 a month or $5 a month for a while, for years, because he was really cool, and he introduced me to JJ personally, Sean Pierce Johnson through his channel, and he was a growing channel too, and he's killing it right now. He's doing really, really good. But he's got his own branded things. Nothing personal about why I stopped sending him money. It's just right now I'm trying to concentrate my funds on other things. I do spend a lot of money on YouTube and a lot of this kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of moving it around a little bit. Sometimes I'll support somebody else a little bit longer. Johnny, I've always supported as a top tier member because he's always repaying me in so many cool ways. It's not even funny. So this thing with going to this benefit show next weekend. I mean, I've been dreaming about a get together of some sorts of that kind of thing. I don't know if I'd ever personally be able to meet him, but it would be so amazing. And it's so funny. It's ironic, if you want to call it that, or serendipitous, that recently Brent sent me a picture of a guitar he saw online for sale. Let me see which one it is.
And that's gnarly. I've become good friends with what is it? Music Man, Octo, General Mission, Brent,
yeah. All these
and
guys.
Alex Radford, Greasy Monkey Guitars, Ian, all these guys.
Right. We found our tribe.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have found them. I mean, they're out there. They're out there. On the other shows like Phil McKnight's show. Yeah. They're out there on. But what other show other than Johnny's are you able to actually really get together and, not just be a part of the chat like a lot of you guys are, but be part of, our friendship, like actually getting to know us, and we, like, you guys play video games all night long with each other. You guys are hanging out, and some of those other guys were hanging out, more with us. R2R3 Locking Nut, is still playing in the games with you guys sometimes, right? But the bottom line is, oh, he's not? Okay. No. I thought he was still, in like, what's it called? The whatchamacallit one.
No, Alex. There's
Los
Alex
Santos.
in the chat. Alex plays the video. He played with us last night.
Right on.
So and it's like getting to know these people not only just through the show, but not in the chat. But like I said, I've talked to some of them on the phone. Greasy Monkey. I made the comment that anybody had extra guitar parts just laying around, want to donate them. I have an address to send them to. If I get the parts for free when I fix people's guitars, I don't charge them for those parts. Because it's just not right. It didn't cost me anything, so why should I charge them for it? It's right. That I tried to be. Yeah, that's just how I was raised. You get raised in an Italian family. There's certain ways.
I would not be sending this to you, dude, if I didn't trust you practically with my life. Well, thank you. And I'm that kind of. That's where I'm at.
Ron, when I get that set of tools from that thing that Johnny
I'll
did,
walk you through it.
Yeah.
It's good to have the other one too. There's that setup one. Hold on, let me grab this other one.
But it's just, so if anybody in here does have any parts that they want to get rid of, just want to donate them to, and again, when I put them on other people's guitars, I don't charge for parts that I don't have to pay for. My email's right there. Please email me. I have an address you can send them to.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Ron Orgunner.
Yeah, and like Greasy Monkey sent me a big two big boxes. One of them was a vintage 30 speaker.
Dang.
And then and a whole box of parts, which I have used probably more than 3/4 of those parts so far. So, but that's how I'm able to do, because I try to carry it and pay it forward.
Kind of pay it forward.
And that's just how I was raised. I mean, that's Janice, you ought to know, you're Italian. You get raised in an Italian family, there's certain, and you don't.
Same with Hungarians.
Yeah, you don't cross
Catholic,
that.
It's kind of a Catholic Christian thing, though. It definitely is a Catholic Christian kind of mentality where you try to leave the place better than when you found it. Is like comes from that too. The Boy Scout, Girl Scout kind of motto, right? Leave it better than you found it, kind of thing. Looks like I'm on a sinking ship over here. This time it's me, Ron. There we go. But I wouldn't have this amp right here if it wasn't for the show, and I wouldn't have my show really if it wasn't for Johnny Bean. I might, but that thing came to me, and a lot of other cool things came to me because of this, Yeah. So Sonia, are you talking about Sandra or Sonia? It was a Sandra. I know she's still doing stuff. Yeah, for first guitar. I don't know. There's a lot of cool people in the chats.
Sonia Jones.
Okay, Sonia Jones. Cool. Yeah, see, I don't remember her too well, but yeah, so many people come and go. Like Johnny says, people come and go, man, And that's what we were talking about with you, Ron. We were like, well, we'll see how long he lasts. No, but now you've become an actual co-host and a real part of the show. And there's an obvious respect that you have for Johnny,
there is.
He has, now you've built that respect for you. We have that respect for you now too. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I don't.
We're gonna get Janice
bed.
up. We're gonna bring Janice up to that level. We're gonna try to get her out of the kitchen and.
I have the maid space over there in the other room.
That's the thing is what we want to try to make happen for you. Yeah, what we want to make for you or make happen with you is that when you're part of these shows and the podcasts and all, when I bring my channel up to another level, I'm going to expect you to raise your level too. Whether I have to send you the stuff to make it happen or not, whatever, that's what we'll do. But we want to raise your level up so that it's not secondary. It's like, hey, I'm doing this I'm putting 100% into this right now when I'm doing
not saying that this is like my secondary.
You know what I mean, though?
My secondary setup. My main thing is in La La Land over there.
Yeah, La La Land, though, is more of a live music kind of a thing.
Yes.
Which, again, is not really set up for podcasting. So what we need to do is get you down in the basement.
I have no laptop in the basement.
I know. But see, a laptop you can carry with you. You can take a laptop down there and just plug it in.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that what we can help you do is like what Ron did here. Set up his basement as his little dungeon there. And then you can have your La La Land dungeon down there, your little La La Land room.
The she shed.
Well, it's not a shed because it's indoors. Johnny's got the he shed.
This whole house is my she
shed. The net shed. But what we want to do is help you set up your things so that you have a space which is made for podcasting.
Yeah.
So that you can then be like me. I mean, this isn't even the proper podcasting mic, but a lot of people do use this mic for this kind of thing. I mean, it is used by people, and I'm not even digging into its software. There's a way that you can go into the software of it to set it up for your room to be great.
I want to do just like Brett.
Yeah, well, Brett is like at a higher level. If you want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on microphones and cameras, but he's got how he got started, right? He was an intern working at Rick Beato's in his music production studio. And he said, hey, you should do
Brett Clark?
No, Brett. No, I'm talking about Rhett Shaw. I thought you were talking about
Brett Clark.
Oh, you're talking about Brett somebody. Okay, I'm confused. I thought you were talking about Rhett Shaw, because that's somebody else who has a really good podcast set up for demos and music related stuff. Yeah, he's the one who influenced Beato to take it seriously and start doing shows about music, not just his children with their their ability to what he trained into them in a sense, taught them to the point where they have what do they call it, perfect pitch, and can name out the names of chords, because they have that ability now, because they all learned and then got taught what those things are. Bottom line is I can recognize those things. I don't know what they're called. I recognize intervals as what works with what, but I don't know what their names are. I know the scales because I did study enough on my own and through a few lessons where I had some books, and I just started doing the scales and learning these things, and that gave me some, technical ability to some degree to be able to play piano fairly well. But a lot of it's self-taught stuff that I kind of discovered over time, and just having the access to certain kind of instruments, like that one organ thing that had all those the left hand things. You just push one or two buttons down and it just plays all kinds of different on the beats. You can choose the samba or the whatever merengue or whatever, and then it just starts doing the left hand beat to it with certain kind of chord tones to it, and it worked. And I learned a lot from that funky little organ thing. And then I would take it to the next level with piano. But then I got synthesizers in the 80s and got into it with synthesizers and then programming stuff using sequencers, right? Which is really just a digital recording system using MIDI. Yeah. Pay It Forward is an interesting movie. Though I didn't like the ending that much. It was kind of depressing in a way. But, it is what it is. Yeah, I think the one thing I've always taught to people, and when I mentor younger people, I try to, and even adults, when I'm in leadership positions with adults, whether I'm managing something or whatever, I'll often bring this into a conversation during a meeting or whatever. And I'll say, look, if you're coming into this with some expectation of being thanked for things like profusely, like, you're in it for the wrong reason. You need to be doing this for what you believe is the right reason to do it, which is just to be doing it. Don't expect anything of it. If nobody cares, then say you did your thing. You did the best you could and you did it. Whether people cared or not is not up to you. You did your part. Now it's up to them. And that's like the thing about these guys. Hey, Johnny did his part trying to be their friend, and trying to help them and trying to do things for them. He made fun of them for certain reasons, which they didn't like. And same reason why he would make fun of me too. And I took it because I'm like, you're right, dude, you're right. I don't have a proper setup. I'm not putting the proper money or time into this. I'm not trying to compete against you. I can't. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not doing music the same reasons that you are. I'm not a pro. I'm not trying to be a pro. I do it for a different reason. Everyone has their reasons. I don't have to explain it or excuse it, but sometimes people want to understand and know, and so you explain it and you express
That's why I was so psyched when he brought up the Saturday night working on guitars.
That's so cool because that's your thing, man.
Well, I love to. I hate to use the word teach, but teach and instruct.
No, you're great at it. I was happy that I had the opportunity to show the difference between you and Johnny, because Johnny, he is not wanting to do that. Though the other night, Thursday, I think he's coming around. Thursday, he tried to teach me something and it worked. He taught me, okay, play this chord, Laz, play this chord, now do this chord. Oh, you're trying to teach me blah, blah, blah song. And the next thing you know, I'm playing it. And that is a good teacher, but he's a musical teacher. And he knew how to break down, whereas you're more, you take apart and put guns back together for people so they don't explode in their hand. So you understand, like, hey, step by step, you need to do this process like this, and then it'll be perfect. And that's what you did on my show, setting up that V, and it turned out fantastic. Now it's perfect, dude. It's freaking amazing now.
But you did it.
I'm like playing. Well, but I did it because I had a good guide, a good teacher that showed me.
But see,
would I be able to do that on my own again? No, because I would have to do it as often as you do to have it ingrained like that, 1,000 hour or 10,000 hour master kind of thing. You've got to do it enough times to where it's like ingrained in you. Johnny used to do some of this stuff back in the day at Big Dogs or whatever his name is, place in Berkeley, but that's 20 years ago, and there's some memory that comes back, but you can get right back on the bike and ride it, but you can't be doing wheelies like you used to when you were 12 years old without a little practice, right?
But but that when he said that, I was like, yeah, let's do that. That because that's what I enjoy doing.
Right. Yeah, synthesizers, dude. Yeah, I had a piano in every house I went to when I was a kid, so I gravitated to the piano and then organ, synths, and all that stuff. So anything I can get my hands on. If there was a guitar in the house, I would have been playing that. There wasn't, so we had a piano everywhere. And then I fell in love with the guitar throughout my life listening to it, but I never had access to one. And then I found an amp and a guitar in my grandparents' house, but the guy wanted the Telecaster back, so sent it back to him to Hungary. And then I got to keep that twin reverb, deluxe reverb. It was a big, heavy freaking amp. It was either late 60s or early 70s Silverface. At that time, I never looked up the serial number. I didn't know. All I knew is it did not sound like Randy Rhoads. And so...
you know what those are worth now?
Yeah, you can find them for around $1,400-$1,500. They're not that expensive, believe it or not. They're not that expensive. So I don't know in what condition, but that thing sounded great.
$175 new.
I used that for a keyboard amp. Ask my buddy Tom if he ever shows up on one of these shows. That'd be cool. But Fat Dog's place. Yeah, Fat Dog. Thanks, Hobarodi.
Does this sound any better?
What's up, dude? Yeah.
Does this sound any better?
You play the video on your screen and play to that, and it works trash. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it does, Janice.
This is just me and my PA.
Yeah. See, it's lucky that right now you're doing what Brent does. You're listening through speakers. We're hearing a little bit of a echo or a reverb, but you're not causing a feedback because you have earbuds in.
I don't have earbuds on.
Yeah, it's just like when I play this.
No earbuds.
See, I have that coming through monitors right here, the piano. This mic is picking that up.
I'm just right now. I'm just using my laptop speakers.
Right. Oh, really? It's that loud?
You?
Yeah. Because it has oh wow, okay, interesting. Yes, but there's a little bit of reverb. Do you have reverb on your mic?
No.
There's it sounds, maybe it's just because the room that you're in. So you're in a big room. There's no sound baffling of any kind back there. You've got pots and pans and all kinds of reflective surfaces behind you.
So that's all good for reverb.
And that's causing you're in a bathroom kind of sound. Yeah. What I was talking about getting you in the basement is setting you up with, like, see these things behind me that I make? These are basically just sound traps, I call them. They're guitar hangers I make that I don't think it's a big genius idea. It's just making a, fabric covered 2 sheets of soundboard over a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood wrapped with the fabric that has like a thick kind of felt underneath that. So it the fabric doesn't break down, but it's wrapped over it. And I should do a video of how to make these things, but it's something that I wanted to make into like some kind of a product to sell, but it's just sending these things out's difficulty. And I came up with a way. Brett and I were trying to brainstorm on how to make them. Came out with a way how I can put them in a box and ship them, but I need to have a prototype of that made, and I haven't gotten around to it. It's just, there's always so much stuff you can do, and I need someone else to sew that, and I need to have everything ready to have the person who's going to sew it. So at some point I might I might get the sewing done, and then I can create the pieces and parts. The other part of it too is that there's a different kind of material than standard type of soundboard that I could use, and that's the other thing I need to purchase and then have it cut the right size. And then, as you notice, some of these are a different width than the others. So this one's 24 wide. This one I think is 20 wide. This one's 22 wide. This one's 20 wide, I think. And then this one over here is, I think, also 20 wide. And now I'm going to make some 18-inch ones.
So now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I gave you dimensions. Would you also be able to put some soundproofing stuff inside that space there? That in the frame, soundproofing stuff in the frame?
That is what this is. It's basically soundproofing soundboard wrapped with fabric. And you can use any kind of fabric. Like this one's a silvery kind of felt fabric. This one looks like leopard or jaguar. This one is made to look like a Ukrainian flag for obvious reasons. I have a Valiant Ukrainian-made guitar on it. This one's made of a purple felt or velvet fabric, and that one's the Johnny. This is the Howie Bean one.
But soundproofing material.
Yeah, so that's fabric over soundproofing.
Well, if I gave you dimensions, would you make me one so I could put in my window in the downstairs basement so that I could sound dead in that?
How big is the window?
Well, I have
see the different fabrics. The one over here is actually, I call it the Howie Bean because it's right. Yeah, send me your dimensions and we'll talk off here. Yeah.
Okay.
The Black Jackson V is right here, dude. It's on my. It's right here on my Hercules stand that just fell over. This is the one that I've been playing the most in here right now, because I'm playing more with that pedal. And for obvious reasons, because I'm going to be sending it to Ron at some point. But I also play my classical guitar the most outside. And then the other one that's also getting a lot of play is this one, because it's a completely different sounding and playing kind of guitar. It's my headless Kiesel Vader that I call the Hoth, because it looks like the icy planet of Hoth with its pearl metallic, fine pearl metallic finish.
I see on YouTube has one like that.
This thing is so cool. Single hum setup.
Right, Alex?
Neck through. This thing is an amazing guitar. Neck through. Courtesan maple, rock hard maple with the swamp ash body. Oops, I ran over my my headphones cable. That's the other thing I might do when I upgrade the studio and bring it up to the podcast level.
Maybe it's better like this.
Years or something. Oops, I just unplugged my headphones. See, that's what happens. Thank you. That's great. So, yeah, I've really gone long with this show. Holy moly. My sweetie's probably... I told her I'd be done in an hour when I went in here. But she's
right now.
And then we're going to go get some other stuff done. Hey, Lydian. Just found 1980s Trevor guitar Ron.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right on.
Uh-oh.
Cool. Yeah, once you go down the Charvel path, you never turn back. As a matter of fact, one of the first guitars that I had, it was the first guitar I bought with my own money, was a 1988 or 87. I don't know. I don't have the serial number, so I can't look it up. And it was stolen from me. Robert Charvel designed SR-71 Gibson Authentic Super Strat that Wayne Robert Charvel designed for Gibson at that time, when the Super Strat was killing the Les Paul and everything else that they made, right?
Yeah.
And then thanks to guys like Randy and guys like Slash, the Les Paul came back into fashion. You know, and then other people too. Who else was playing Les Pauls? Neil Sean, Joe Perry, yeah, right. But the bottom line is Les Paul's never completely died, but boy, did the Super Strat thing because of Eddie and guys like, all those guys, mainly Eddie. That really, yeah, there you go. But see, if that's some off-brand made in China thing.
No, it's a Blue Yeti.
Oh, the Yetis are great. Yeah. See, that basically is a similar
podcast microphone.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. This is just a kind of a different looking one, but I bet you it's probably about the same exact thing inside. That one might be a little bit upper level because it might have a button on it, stuff like that, right? This one has a little light that shows you that it is functioning properly. You guys can see that little red light. Too much other light going on.
It's a Blue Yeti USB microphone for recording, streaming, gaming, podcasting on PC and Mac, condenser mic for laptop or computer with Blue voice effects, adjustable stand, plug and play.
Right. That's exactly what this is. Exactly the same thing. Yeah. This one just looks different. What I like about this one is how it fits right onto the end of a mic boom like that. Really easy, just twist it right on. And it's not big, it doesn't get in the way. You move it out of the way, and it looks like a Jedi training module that I still want to paint on. If I keep this, I got something like that over here, but the batteries died, so I gotta recharge it.
There you go.
My black saber here, my dark saber or whatever it's called. The Mandalorian series. I love the Mandalorian series. Anyway, should end the show. Probably got to get going. I just got.
Oh, Lydian, who are you?
What's that?
Lydian says my friend said he couldn't find my channel, so I changed my name. Sorry. Were you?
Well, Lydian, everyone go check out Lydian's channel. I'm going to look him up right now.
Who were you before, Lydian?
That's my question. Do we know you from before?
There he is.
Lydian.
Oh, so you're internationally insane student.
Dana.
Insane studio.
Lydian. I'm bringing up some guy named Julio Nascimento. Oh, okay, I found you. Hold on, let me find you. There you are. You got a skeleton for your thing, right? Oh yeah, there you go. All right, I just subscribed. I'm your first subscriber if you don't have any other subscribers. It's one video that you have up there, and it's a something about seeking the future, and it's got a squirrel.
Rocky
so I don't think it could be. It doesn't look like Lydian's got a channel that has a bunch of videos up yet, do you? Well, let me see videos. No, it's the same video. So anyway, people, Lydian, are you going to be doing music, or what do you do on your show? What do you want to do? Do you have some, what do you call it, intention for your YouTube life here? It's fun.
You've been there.
Don't let any of the hate or any of the negative stuff get to you. Just do your thing and be cool and have fun. And if people are mean to you, just block them. That's what we do. If you're not gonna be nice to us, guess what? We don't need you. We don't need you in our chats.
Bye.
Yeah, you will do music. Yeah, it's bye. Right on, dude. Cool. All right, man. Well, welcome to the Music Therapy and Johnny Bean and Ron Gunner and Janice Robert La La Land community. We're connected to a bunch of other communities out there. Henning Pauly of 42, studios HP42 Studios, Henning Pauly Studios.
Zim's Guitars.
Zim's Guitars, Guitar Geek. I'm friends with him. We've got a bunch of other people that we're friends with. Sean Pierce Johnson. Andy's great, right? He's such a great guy.
Most of the ones on that wall came from Zim's.
Yeah. There you go. Zim's Guitars. Dane.
I played my clarinet last night.
Another shop opening up in Mesa area. Is it in Mesa too, or where's he doing the other shop?
He sits like a couple blocks away.
Yeah, right on. And then Steve over here, right on. What's up, dudes? Thanks, man. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Give me a like, share the channel. I'm trying to grow to 1,000. Where am I at right now? Let me see. Where's Music Therapy Live? 857.
You still giving a guitar away at 1,000?
When I get to 1,000, I'm going to give away a guitar. I don't know which one. I might go out and buy one. I might even ask the winner, okay, so here's the budget. How do you want us to do this? You know, we'll make it fun, just like CC's guitar. The reason why that hasn't been completed yet is because I'm videoing the work on it. And for me to do that, I have to make time to make a space to do it. And when you're shooting enamel paint, it's not easy. It's got to be done outdoors, and the temperature has to be right, and all these things matter. So I've been taking forever on that guitar, and that's what's been holding me up. I don't have this space that I was hoping that I was going to be able to use as a mod squad room. I started to do a show called the Mod Squad, Guitar Mod Squad, where you guys are my squad helping me mod, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm totally new to building and making guitars, but it's something I have an affinity for. I really respect people like Ron who really know what they're doing and have all the skills and tools and everything. Like,
I don't do the work on the bed either.
Yeah, you do it on a table. And maybe somebody can do work on a bed. I don't know, but I think you need some. Maybe it should be done. Anyway, whatever. We've seen that guy's work. I've seen two of the guitars.
Fixed that guy's work.
Yeah, we've seen 2 guitars that guy messed up. Anyway. Now, so bottom line is we're not pretending. I'm not ever pretending that I know what I'm doing, other than if I do know something, I will say it, and I'm always learning. I find, any of the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys, I'm learning about as I'm sharing it. And that's what's great about it. Yeah.
That's what it's for.
I believe in the all boats rising philosophy of life. Let's all help each other rise to a greater level from where we're at right now.
This should be to learn like the music.
No ego.
Can help you. Yeah, how the music can help you in life, how to work on guitars, or how to record music, whatever. So you should be learning something.
Yeah, that's what's great about life, is learning and expanding our knowledge of everything, right? And the more we know,
the better you go.
Better you get, right? The better you go. That's a good one. I like that.
The more you know, the better you go.
Yeah. Too legit to quit. Anyway, you guys, rock on, man. Have a great day. I went way long. I'm going to go spend the rest of the afternoon with my sweetie, which we like to do on a Sunday. And then, I'll post some stuff up on Instagram. I'm trying to figure out how to do Instagram live from this when I'm doing this. And then I will eventually actually hook this thing up that I've had now for a couple months and not done anything with. I have some other really cool gear in here too. I'll be able to hook that up with this. So maybe on Thursday.
Is Johnny coming over tomorrow?
I hope so, because we did have plans for that. I can go direct in with this too. I could have been going direct in with this as well.
Wow.
But
I want to have been going direct with your Helix Stomp too.
I could have done that a long time ago, but the bottom line is I want to have a setup here in the studio where I'm not constantly taking something apart and putting it back together.
Exactly.
I want it wired up. Yeah. I want it wired up and set up. So I just come in here, and if I need to plug in something to that system, I can, like how Henning does it. He has this setup where he's got everything set up where he has a new pedal. Just plug it in here. Boom. That's it. Now he can do all his, IRs with all his cabs, and even go through a real speaker with a mic on it. He can do it all in one place. Now he has an entire house and some more rooms in other houses and locations that he's doing it all through. I have a 4-channel mixer. So I have the 4-channel interface. I have this, which has a bunch of stuff on top of it. But let me move this out of the way. But I'm trying to set up a real quality studio in here. So the reason I bought the SSL is because I like the SSL sound for the rock and roll thing. I mean, you could go Neve or other ways.
Channels is that?
This is actually, it's got 8 faders, so it's not. You can do as many channels or as many as you want, and then just discreetly set up each one of these faders to anything you want. So you can have an infinite number of channels depending on how fast your computer is and what software you're using, right?
Sander Klepper, he had a problem with his QU32. And now he's got this thing that's called the Big Six.
Yeah, there are so many different ones out there. I was looking at several different ones, but I went with the solid state logic one because for the money, you're really getting the best bang for your buck and can expand. And there are other control surfaces that I want to add to this that just make the music production side of it a lot more flowing. We were talking about flow. You'll flow a lot easier. So when you have less time, you can get more out of your time because you're not having to mess around with stuff.
They're telling me that I need to have a mixer with a preamp on it.
Yeah, because you do vocals and you want to have a nice preamp for vocals. This has preamps built in it as well. And then you can, of course, get all kinds of virtual instrument preamp stuff with your DAW.
I'm going to need at least 10.
I know how to do it all. I've done it before. I can do it again. It's just time. Time is the thing. Yeah, and you'll learn it along the way. That's the thing, is that you'll Reaper is the best way to go if you ask me, if you're learning, because you can do anything on
I got it in the other room.
Yeah.
I have it in the other room. I just haven't hooked it all up.
Yeah. The point is that if we're helping you set up your podcast situation, Janice, you want to have a place you can go that you can just grab your laptop and just go plug everything in. That's what I do. I have
and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and you're ready to go. So I bring my laptop here and I plug it in. Now when I have the whole setup over here, the studio setup, that's running off a different computer. When I'm going to be doing live music off that thing, or I'm recording something live that I'm recording into it or whatever, right? I'm producing music. I'm using a different computer for that. I'm not using my laptop. I'll use my laptop for podcasting because it's just simple. It's easy. I can do it from any place and I can just take it and set it up. And that's the idea. But it might be stupid of me to send this to you because I might want to use this outside of the studio.
Don't send it to me.
Okay, then I won't. Then get your own. But I like the round one. They make a black one like this too.
It's a personal thing, Yeah.
It's a personal Then get one of these. You don't want to get black. Why get a black one? Yeah. They make a black one, but why I like this one is that it's not made to be a tabletop. This is not like that other Yeti. It's kind of like a tabletop one that's on the table. If that's how you're always ever going to use it, get that. But why I like this is because you can hook this up to a boom arm and it can be anywhere. I can move it up like this and point it that way. I can, do all these things with it, and it's super simple and quick and easy. Exactly. Yeah. Hey, Frank Corcoran, dude. Yeah, it's been forever, dude. Where you been? Been hearing about you possibly setting up your studio. Yeah, I've been doing that forever, dude. I had to retire. Oh yeah, dude. I'm still not retired, so I'm trying to make it happen. And slowly, it's getting better and better. But it is a slow go. And when I spend 3 hours doing this instead of doing some of that, the time goes away. Yeah. But you get it, right? So yeah, like my friend G, for months we've been saying, set up that drum set with those Van Halen, bass drums so we can play him. We were hoping to play him last week when we were down there for the Alex Van Halen book thing, but he couldn't do it. He didn't have time. So we're hoping now before NAMM he gets it set up so we can actually go there and shoot some video of us playing the drums, because I can play drums too. I'm not going to brag or nothing because I'm not an expert in any way.
I got drums here,
but I can play drums. I can play bass. I can play some guitar, and the more I play, the better I get. Like when I don't play for a while, I'm rusty as hell. But give me a couple hours and I'm right back to where I can start soloing and playing. Not like Van Halen or nothing, but there you go. Yeah, that's funky. Anyway,
play that funky music.
There you go. I love funky music. But the bottom line is that most musicians would like to be able to play every instrument they can get their hands on, because then they can produce more sound, more music that's in their head, right? That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Right. So right on. Ron's got the Gadungeon there, which is more than a Gadungeon now. It's a full-on, serious streaming podcasting, mega station.
I got the Rodecaster Pro. I got the Helix Floor, and I did get the cable I need to hook two together finally. And I end up buying the KRK speakers and sub.
Nice.
New monitor.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, like I said, I didn't do it for myself. I did it to help my end of Johnny's show and my end of your show. So
Well, you are doing it for yourself too, in the sense that you want to produce the best of you that you can put out there. And yeah, that's what you should be doing. That's what we all should be doing. And if you got the time, you're retired too, right? So if you got the time, you can do it. That's the one thing I wish I had more of. Like I often say,
you make more money, but you can't make more time.
Yeah. Well, if you make enough money, eventually you can have more time because then you don't have to work.
Until you're too old to make the money.
If you have enough money where you don't have to work and you can just do what you want to do, I'd be doing this all day long.
There's a lot of things happening financially.
Music. You know, I might be I'd go back to school and finish my degree in music therapy and music, psychology related to music, and I'd write books about it, and I'd do this too. And it'd be a combination of, learning and discovering about how the mind and music and all that works together to make our lives better, trying to help more people with that. And then I'd be playing music and creating music. If I had to only do one thing in life and I could choose whatever it is, it would be music, and I would just do music. But I'm too interested in too many other things. And so I spread myself a little thin sometimes. Like I want to build the guitar too. I want to build one. I want to make my own. I want to make custom guitars. I have ideas of custom guitars. I've told you guys about the one that I really want to do next year. Maybe if I can find the time to do it, I've got to put I already brought it in. So check this out. The body's still in a case, but I did take them down from the storage because I want to have it in my face. So I make time for it. But I've got my slime green EVH neck down here because I got to do the pinstriping on it. And to do that, I've got to have it in hand. So I'm going to start doing the pinstriping for that and that guitar, put it back together and get it set up right. And I'll have, I'll watch my own video of Ron teaching me how to properly set up the
Floyd.
The Floyd, so I can set up the Floyd properly. I've got those that oil and everything. And I'll properly set up that guitar, and then I got to finish, but I'm not going to do that until I finish CC's guitar. So I'm going to be, thankfully the weather is going to be perfect all week. So I'm going to get it done. And I'm going to have some time to do it too. So thankfully, I'm going to get it done. So there'll be that to do. And then I have my Jeff Beck guitar, the reverse headstock one that I've been wanting to do as a tribute to him. Once I get those two built, then I want to work on my crazy creation idea that came inspired from Steve Vai's three-headed Hydra, neck Hydra guitar. I'm going to do the EVH.
That'd be a big wall hanger you'd have to build for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to do the EVH version of that. What I'm going to do is have a 3-neck guitar that has a bass and a 5150 and a 78 Eruption Frankie style on it with a little mini keyboard instead of how he had the harp. I want to put a little mini keyboard on it so I can play jump on it. And I'm going to make that guitar. I'm going to buy kit builds and put it together from kit builds so that I'll know they'll actually work separately as guitars, and I just have to splice them together somehow and make it work. I think it's possible because I know I have the machinery for it. I have the woodworking skills for it. I'm a perfectionist. So the only thing I don't have is really a full-on shop to do it at. But maybe by that time I'll move out of here and maybe we'll live in a house where I'll have a garage to do it. Or I'll talk my sister into let me use her garage to do it in because she's not really there as much anymore. She's got a really great boyfriend she's living with most of the time. So
maybe you can move into his
and you know what retirement to me is, Hoborodi? I will never retire from working. I'll just be working on the things I want to do all day long every day. I will never rest. There's no rest for the wicked. I'm just kidding. That's from a movie.
It's also an album.
Lifeboat. Oh, yeah. If you've never seen it, I read the book first, then I saw the black and white movie Lifeboat. And there's that one line where the lady says that. And it comes from somewhere else, too, obviously, from probably some literature. Yeah. All right, man. I'll check this out. From Loudwire yesterday. Psychology of Music. Yeah, dude. As a matter of fact, I wanted to show you guys this before I'll end the show now. I'll finally end the show. These are 2 books. One that I've already read. This is an exceptional book if you want to get into a little bit more on philosophy and music and all that. The Creative Art, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Notice that looks like a record.
I remember you talked about that.
Rick Rubin, the great producer, who's still out there producing music, and he looks like Gandalf or something, the Gandalf of the music industry. And then this is the most latest one that I got. I did a video or this show, I think last show was talking about This Is Your Brain on Music by the writer, there he is, Daniel Levitin, who's a producer of music from back in the 70s and into the early 80s, I believe. He knows everyone from Sting. He's worked with all these guys from Sting to Toto to Blue Oyster Cult, lots of other people. He's worked with some of the greatest musicians out there, and he was a producer, and then he decided to become a neuroscientist and take his the next level of music, understanding how music and the mind work together, right? So this is your brain on music, understanding a human obsession. And then he gets into his next book is all about like longevity in life, how to live a healthier, better life, understanding how our mind works and the chemistry and neuroscience around all these things. Fascinating stuff. I'm always really interested in that kind of thing, so I'll definitely check that out. Trash. I keep saying trash. Trash. Dudes, check out Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs channel too, by the way. Let me see if I can find it, because I'm a subscriber. Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs.
Always like his videos.
Yeah, it's fun. I love that the whole fun. Where is it? Kind of fun riffs.
The fonts he uses too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like from Caveman, right? Stompbox. Where is it? Trying to find it. Digging. Maybe I have to do the thrash metal and instead of the word and put that and sign in. Wow, I'm getting all this other. There's so much thrash stuff up there that it's all overwhelming. The
goes to the filters
feed here.
Yeah,
isn't that weird? Like, shouldn't something that you're subscribed to pop up right away first? It's all this thrash metal stuff. God, even like keyboard stuff that has nothing to do with it. Just thrash metal riffs. Everything that's got thrash metal riffs. What if I put at the end channel?
You gotta go into the filters.
Where do I go? How do I go into the filters?
You have to hit channel.
All right, wait a minute. So how do I do that? All right, let me go. Auto notifications. So maybe I just got to go to my page and look to my subscriptions, and then look up thrash metal and fun riffs from my subscriptions. Even then, it doesn't go there. All right, honey. She's like, let's go. She's finally gotten off the phone now too. Though she's been on the phone all morning, talking with family and stuff. That's tough when you don't live where your family lives. They're all in Peru, Yeah, see, somebody already did a video like this. This is kind of interesting. Well, anyway, Thrash, send me your channel again. I don't know, why is it not coming up? Why is this so annoying? All right, you know what? I'm going to use my computer to do this instead of my laptop. It's hard to type into that. YouTube. I'm going to have to quickly make sure that's... Come on, man. All right, let me look it up here. Home. Where I search. Thrash, metal, and fun riffs. Come on, pop up. See, I'm getting all the Stomp Box, Ibrahim Burdal, the Surfcaster, something or another. Why doesn't it show up? How do I find it on my subscriptions? Like if I go to my subscriptions, shouldn't go right to all my subscriptions. There's all this other junk here. Man. See, now it's giving me a history of my videos instead of a history of like it's not showing my subscriptions when I click on my subscriptions. Manage. What's this? Grid. List. Yeah, give me list. So it's got Rock and Dave Byron, because these guys are all live. So they were first.
Yeah, the live goes first.
Live. Pete Thorne is live. But why can't I write in thrash metal and fun riffs and get that exact thing that I'm looking for?
That goes down to the T's.
So annoying. No, I don't want the latest. Okay, maybe it's because it's the latest. How do I change that? Okay, manage. No, go back. Now what's it doing? Oh my God, this is so annoying. YouTube, get it together, man. Make your channel a little easier to freaking get around on. I mean, my God. Home. Okay, now it's in music. God, so annoying. There should be a way where because I've got hundreds of channels that I'm subscribed to, right? There should be a way where when I click on subscriptions, they all pop up in a list. They used to. Now it's not doing that anymore. Okay, here it is. Show more. Okay, here we go. All right. Now I'm going to get all the way down to the T's. QRS. What the? Now it's all weird. Okay, how do I change it not from latest, but to... Wow, this is super annoying. Wow, this is like super annoying. It's like all over the place. All subscriptions. How do I choose? Wow, this is... Okay. It just has the latest because I have latest chosen. Okay, most relevant. Okay, let's do this.
See?
All right, A to Z.
Look.
There we go.
Look. See?
Now
it says...
This is an A to Z.
The three dots, it'll say on the top, it says search filters.
Hold on, let me go back. Let me go back to home. Okay, I'm going to home. Now, I don't have three dots because you're looking at a phone, right?
Right.
I'm on my laptop.
But it's all the way down the bottom. It says type all. And you just hit the type and you go channel.
All right. Hold on. I'm going to go all the way back until I get to just YouTube. And it says you. And then it has home. Okay, if I go to home.
See, he's right here. He's right here. You go to the type.
I'm not looking at you because I got something else on my... Let me close this off here. All right. So how did you find it? Show me. To the right of the search bar, it says filters.
Search filters, right. Yes.
Just put it in alphabetical order.
I tried that.
Type. You go to the type.
Okay, hold on. Slow down.
And you go to channel.
Right. So I'm on my... let me see this. Hold on. So when I go to... I'm here.
You put the word in, and then it brings up all the other things, and then you say search filters with the three dots on top.
Oh, hold on. So do you go to the search thing, or it doesn't make sense to me.
It says search filters.
So I go to home, and the first thing that's up there is like this random stuff. There's like
there's three dots on the top.
There's
3 dots on the top over here.
There is no 3 dots on my thing. There's no 3 dots on the top of my thing. I've got no 3 dots.
There's the arrow, the thrash metal and fun riffs that you've typed in, and there's the Chromecast thing. The search.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to torture everyone with this, and we'll figure this out some other time. Bottom line is that maybe because I'm not putting it all in capital letters.
Right.
Oh Jesus, this is what I hate about YouTube. It's like. But what I don't understand is I know I'm subscribed to him, and metal and
exactly thrash
riffs. Still, I'm not getting that. I put it in capital. Okay. All right. So there's filters. I'm clicking on filters. Search filters.
Right. And then you hit type.
Type, and then what do I do? Channel. There we go. All right, that worked. Thank you. All right, now I can copy this, right, and put it into the thing. Ron could have already done it for me, though. Or so could you have. There we go. All right, now that should work. Now, if you guys click on that, it takes you to Thrash Metal's channel, right?
How do you get that? Maybe you can help me to get that.
What do you mean?
how do I get the link from that?
I did exactly what you said, and I went to his channel, and then it was right at the top at the URL bar on the top of my laptop.
Oh.
So when I click on that, go to channel, and there I am. See, it shows I'm subscribed. It shows all notifications.
Well, we learn from each other, right?
I haven't gotten a notification in a million years. He just did something called locked shut steel spine 2 weeks ago.
Right.
What's the most latest thing? That's the most latest thing. There you go. And then you got platonic disease and a bunch of other cool stuff here. That was 3 years ago. But anyway, he's got a bunch of stuff up there. You guys go check it out. Click on that link. Subscribe to his channel too. And let's all help each other, right? All boats rising. That's what I'm all about. Yeah, I'm going to open up lock. See, and here he is.
Yeah, right onto his TV.
That might give me a copyright thing. I don't know. So there's that way of rocking out. You can do backing tracks or just turn on the TV and rock out to YouTube. Yeah, press and hold if you need to copy paste. Yeah, I figured that out. I know how to use computers. I actually C++ certified and Dreamweaver certified and all that stuff. Back when it mattered, when I was wanting to get into that industry, and just as I got certified, the bubble burst. I was married and I had to get into some other line of work. Enough of me whining about my life. I can't complain. Right on, dude. You're at work waiting to do some work. Shouldn't be too long, though. Right on, dude. Hey, Rhodey's Jam Cave. What's up, dude? So I've gone way too long. It's almost 1 o'clock here in California, which would have been 2 o'clock.
It's almost 4 here.
It's almost 4 there. Thanks for hanging with me, Ron. You probably need to get out of that chair for a little bit.
Yep.
Janice, everybody, let's get some fresh air. We're going to go out and get some fresh air.
Okay.
Rock on, everybody. Go check out Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs right there. He's in the chat there. Click on that. And yeah, eventually I'll try to put more time into some of the studio stuff, as I keep saying, but there's only so many hours in the day, right? And we have fun chatting forever here. It's just the endless conversations, right? True. Right on, man. See you guys later. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, check out Ron's stuff, check out Janice's stuff, help each other out, go to everyone's channel and at their channels, copy their links and put them into your descriptions. I put people's links into my description too that have like channels that I really like that I watch. Hoberody's giving us a big heavy metal fingers up, right? And that's not some evil thing. That's to cast out the demons. That's what Ronnie James Dio brought this to the world. This was from his Italian family's grandmother, who was saying that's how they would cast out the demons. Cast out the demons, right?
The other way was the evil eye.
This is the evil eye, and this is the not evil eye, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess depending on where you're standing.
Yeah.
Again, perspective or perception, right? Depends on how you want to see things. That's how you're going to probably take it, right? Yeah, you used to be able to just click on the name, right? What the heck happened there? I mean, that used to be a much easier way to spread people's YouTube channels around, right? But it is American Sign Language for I love you. Look at that. I thought that was this.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, Johnny Bean's got something going on. What's he doing? He's out there having coffees. That's what I need. All right. So the next time you guys want to talk about some music-related subject, send me a topic idea. I've done some people's topics here that they've had ideas for, like Holly sent me some before. We'll do it. If it sounds interesting and it's like science and music and health and mental health.
Yeah. Reminded me with science.
Like that?
Yeah. Oh, that one. What's that one?
Well, he just says, I love you.
Oh, that one?
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, and then there's this one.
And this one was more nanu.
Yeah, there's this one.
Yeah, right. There was a nanu.
Yeah. So if you knew what that meant, the kids wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Be good to each other, and if you can't be good at it.
Nanu.
Don't get caught. No. And if you do, it's your fault. Until then, you guys no, really, I used to always say this in my music therapy channel before I started to do these different kinds of shows. I used to say the secret to tone is in your mind, but the feel comes from your heart. So in this show, we were talking about the subjective and the concrete, right? Subjective, the heart, the mind, the concrete thing. Put those things together, and create music with it, right? Get together with friends, collaborate, create music with each other, and rock on. That's what it's all about, right?
Right.
You got a much better applause thing there than I do, Ron. Anyway, until then, you guys, yeah, rip. Oh, Robin Williams. Is it the anniversary of his death? Yeah. There you go.
No, Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, Mork and Mindy. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah. Cheers, y'all. Rock on, and we'll see you next time. Everyone's out. Ciao.